Hey, it's Sunday, Memorial Day weekend. Figured I'd just hang out in the studio, do some workbench stuff today. I hit three buttons at once, and the stupid mouse did not click the other music off, and it just botched that intro. But you know what? Whatever. I have one person potentially watching me right now, and that's all good. So we're gonna be hanging out today. I actually have a list of things that I wanted to do today. In the studio. So usually I do this stuff just chilling by myself, but I figured why not just share it with the stream today because I'm going to be on the computer, I'm going to be on a 3D printer, and we're going to yippee yap our Sunday morning away with y'all. So what's 8:50ish right now? Cool. We'll just we'll see how long this lasts, and I may hit up some Fallout 4 in a little bit too on another stream. So things that we want to do today, we are working on something for Kylea. Kylea has some Sea of Thieves. Sea of Thieves Festival coming up. Actually, I'm not sure if it's a festival or what the heck it is, but it is a specific thing that she does annually, and she needs some help. So we're going to start to jump in, see what we can come up with in terms of some 3D printable goodies for some of the folks that she works with. After that, or maybe before that, who knows? I'm going to figure out what we're going to do first. We also have to set up some GB Studio files. If you watched the Hangout with Adam and Ryan, this wasn't last week. Was it last week? I don't think it was. But the week prior to that, we had some setup that Ryan needs so that he can jump into the project file, start getting some things figured out. I also want to do some... What else? I guess that's it, right? Ryan project files, Sea of Thieves, learning tiles. I got a bunch of Game Boy games. I think you saw that on the intro there. I was actually pretty stoked. So we have what? Is that 9? No. Wait, see here. It's more than 9. That's 12. But is that 1, 2? I guess that is 12. I got 12 new Game Boy games. I got the Fisher Price Game Boy, my little gamer. I know one of my buddies out there, Mike Azul, has been working on actually editing his. I see a little green flicker in the upper right-hand side of this screen here. I don't know what that's all about, but you know what? I'm not all pro. Whatever. All right, let's just jump into it. I wanted to start with some 3D printing. That's probably the first thing that we need to get done today. So let's jump over into the 3D printing screen, figure out what we're going to be able to do. So Kylea is a buddy. Go check out her stream if you so want to. She has some cool gaming that she does quite frequently. I haven't seen the creative side. She's been doing some maker stuff for a while as well, but in this case, what we're going to do today is we're going to get a 3D printed test out. Hey, what's up, Jackson Riley? Cool. Hey, I appreciate that. We have a lot of stuff that going on here. So today I'm just going to be messing around. There isn't a really crazy format to show. Hey, but hey, you just followed us. Thank you so much. Hey, and one thing that we do on this show is we have our headliner, which is called the Hangout with Adam Ryan. That's every other Thursday. There's one coming up this Thursday. It's 3 hours, co-hosted show. My buddy comes in here. We usually do a lot with video game development, creative design, do-it-yourself kind of thing. We are making a Game Boy game, and you should check that out if you want to. It's 8 o'clock Mountain Time, if you want to jump in on that. Today, I'm just going to be kind of yapping around and doing a couple things. So what you see on the screen right now is a Simplify 3D. And what Simplify 3D is, it's a tool that we can take in some different parts and pieces, and we're going to go and chuck it onto the 3D printer. So since you're new to the show, Jackson, I just am going to show you a couple of the camera angles that we see as we go around the show. This is a hobby of ours. This is not some big old thing. I used to work in broadcasting and radio and TV, and this is a bunch of crap that I collected over the years to make this little studio. So in the back, I have my 3D printer. This is a top-down version of it, but we also go in and we look at it from the nozzle, so you can see it come out on the nozzle. We also have the Workbench, which just is a workbench that's behind me over here. And then also behind me, got a little GoPro, so hey, you see me right over here, so what's up, man? And then we have our front cam, which has a lot of, this is our, basically, we chit-chat with folks on this side. And then, we have all these other little camera angles and things that we do. We have a little pop-up cam, so you have me right there. We have a guest cam in the back. We bring in people on occasion and have some chit-chats. And then I do a lot of game streaming too. I do not play video games without streaming. I'm so busy in my life that I have to like cram things together. And I figure, why not stream a game at the same time? So I'm going to be hitting up Fallout 4. I brought it back up from about 5 or 6 years ago. I opened my save, had about 10 days cumulative of time in that one, and I just forgot where I was at. And so I'm going to be playing some Fallout 4 if you're game to watch that in a little bit. But right now, we're about to jump in and really get into this guy right here. So I'll show you what we're up to, and, feel free to ask questions if you like. Sometimes I just do this to zero streamers. Sometimes we have a bunch of them in here, and, my typical crew is in the evenings that hang out with me, but, I like to yap, so that's why we're here today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to import something specifically today. I've been working on this one. My friend Kylea, she is a streamer as well. She does a lot. You'll be the morning crew, huh? All right. I don't know what time zone you're in. We have been trying to switch up our times when we stream. We do a bunch of other stuff in our lives here. I got 2 kiddos upstairs, 13, 15. They are constantly on their gaming devices. They think I'm kind of a weirdo for streaming, but whatever. But what I wanted to do was take a quick peek at what I got on my desktop here. And we're going to bring in a Sea of Thieves thing. This is, I think it's called the Fort of Fortune. I'm not sure if you play Sea of Thieves. But what this does is last year, and it's kind of hard to see from this angle, but last year, Kylea had built some coins to take to her Sea of Thieves festival. And so this year we're doing a re-up. We're trying to figure out what's the new cool thing that we're going to create. And so this is going to be something that I want to take a quick peek at. Yeah, well, thanks. I appreciate you stepping in here and with the creators and things. We do a lot of creation. A lot of hands-on stuff is on the Workbench side of the house. This is episode 3, but I haven't done a lot of the workbenches lately. I do a lot of this stuff because there's a lot of trial and error, and sometimes it's maybe not as fun to watch when you do the trial and error, but I figured, whatever. But what we're going to try to create today, and I'm going to show you on the camera, is so this is not what we're creating today, but see how it's a 2-color print. So what I did is you print the white in this one and then the orange on the side, and so you get 2 colors. I don't have to paint this. This is a little coaster that we made for our double drop down show. So we got a bunch of these just laying around here. We do a lot of 3D printing. My glasses are 3D printed as well, just as a heads up. So in the COVID time frame, I broke my glasses. I have the broken pair somewhere around here. But with the broken pair, what happened is I was like, man, I am not going to go to optometrist. I'm not going to go try to figure out how to get some new frames. This is when I started dabbling in 3D printing, and I figured out how to make my own pair of frames. So I have like over 90 to 100 pair of glasses that I create, and this is the current version that people tend to like. I don't know. I don't have any hardware on them, but they like snap in. Ooh, I'm smacking things. So there's no hardware. They just snap into each other. And again, it uses this like 2-color method that I've been using for quite a bit of time. So I just hot swap some of the filament in the 3D printer as we go. You get 2 colors, and that's what we're about to do today. We got to get this thing set up on the 3D printer, so you're going to get to watch me get this 3D printer set up, which is pretty cool. Oh, man. You broke the system by doing that. Yeah, I know. It is. Oh, my God. Like, I have been thinking, like, so many people want these particular glasses, but it's like $180 for a sweet pair of glasses, and I modeled these off of the original frames that I had, or not frames, but the lenses. So I popped the lenses out of my broken pair. My first pair, well, I'm going to just show you now since you're watching. This is the first pair that I created, which is actually kind of close to the color of this one. This one's a little bit more yellow, but they're very thin. They even had like a little screw that I put in here, and they lasted literally an hour before they broke. Current glasses I wear, I've got them. I had them going for a couple years. I have the white pair. That's my typical white and black. But in any case, It is fun. It is worth it. It takes a little bit of time to make them. I don't sell them, but I do give it away for free online. Most of the stuff that we have, we give away for free. So if you're ever interested at looking at some of the stuff that we got going, you might want to check us out on our website. So I'll just throw that up. It's doubledropdown.com. You can see all our old episodes, everything that we've done on there. So that's a cool place to check out if you want to see any of the stuff that we do. You can see Ryan on there and whatnot. So here's our website. But one of the things I was going to call out on the website is if you go to our projects, you'll get to see some of the projects we built. We only have one of them up on here. We built a board game last year, all 3D printable, and something that you can do yourself. You can go 3D print it if you go find a 3D printer. But what the board game was, these are some of the concepts that we even looked at today. So here's some of the cool stuff. If you'd ever want to play our board game, we used AI to help drive some of the insights. This was before AI became everything. We were like kind of tip of the spear on some of those pieces, but it's pretty sweet. So if you wanted to ever print it, we just give it away for free. You go online, go to printables, you download all the pieces. We have some insights on how you actually 3D print it itself. If you had all the colors and things like that. And of course, we made a couple of those games as we go. And it is a fun game. It is really fun. I don't know. I think it's fun. We played it on the show. But all right, back on track. Let us continue with our journey of 3D printing today. So here we go. First thing is I'm using a new kind of filament that I hadn't played with before, PLA Plus, and you'll kind of see it on this left-hand side. So PLA Plus, I print in TPU, PETG, and PLA. And hey, Jackson, I don't know if you do any 3D printing, but it is like a thing that has been fun for me for quite a bit of time because it allows me to just have this creative kind of thoughts about something like, oh, you know what? I wonder if I could 3D print something to fix that. I have fixed and used functional things across my house all the time with 3D printing. I actually rarely do print just things that are non-functional, kind of like what we're going to do today. But this one is for a friend. So I wanted to make sure I could help them out and get something going here. I also have like a 3D printing lab that I helped run at my work. So, oh yeah, resin printing. It's a good type of printing. The thing that I had a problem with resin, or at least originally, is just that it was pretty brittle for some of the things I was doing. So I'm looking for things that actually have some malleability or just don't break as much. But when you get down to the very small, detailed things, resin is definitely where it's at. You know where else I'd like to do is fusing, sintering nylon together. I don't know if you've heard of the fuse kind of systems. Those ones are good. I heard there's like I don't know if it's nylon resin or there's a different type of mixture that you get in the resin that gets you a little bit more of that stability. So that is something that I'm very interested in doing. The other side about the resin is there's a lot to clean up. There's a lot of aspects of it that I felt like I couldn't fit into this room. So I have that in other areas. I do have a little tiny resin printer that I barely ever use at work. And 3D printing isn't the thing I do at work. I just have access to one. So I'm going to go back to the FDM, and it's pretty good. Oh, sweet. You make prototype vinyl toys. So then do you send those out to get manufactured, or is it more like just you're creating some toys? If you have a channel too, I'm going to have to check it out. So I will look you up on Twitch and see if I can't follow you if you do some streaming yourself, or if there's anything you want to check out here, let us know. I'd like to see it. All right, so I'm going to go and I'm just going to prepare to print this particular one. I'm going to go with a PLA today, and we're going to check on a few things. So this is it's going to take 4 hours to print this. This is a little much. The reason it's taking 4 hours is I just adjusted the speeds here. Yeah, I understand it's a little tough to send it off for manufacturing, but I love the idea that you're already making those pieces and you're doing things. I wonder if there's any other techniques that you can use to manufacture some more, I don't know, non-brittle parts. I think this is the challenge here, and that's why I've gone back to the FDM side of the house, but I completely understand that that's not going to be able to work. So you did find one. Well, that's good. I've been trying to find some people to collab with in terms of some of the Game Boy game stuff that we're making because we want to send out carts. But then in the same situation, it gets very expensive to send that kind of thing out. All right, what I'm going to check out here, though, is let's see how many layers I'm going to have to print before I do my swap here. So it looks like it's layer 11. So and that's almost directly halfway through. And then I'll be able to swap the ink. So I'm going to do a neon underlay. It actually is funny because the prototype shows it as a kind of a neon. And then I'm going to do a gray kind of skeleton face on the top here for today. So I got to go grab my SD card so I can make this happen. So if you make the parts in resin, you mold them in silicon, and then you can produce roto molds from those. See, this is what I love. When people jump in and give me and teach me things, I love that. That seems like a really interesting process. I would be interested on how you do complex shapes. I know there's a lot of folks that have me try to do D&D figures, and that's where resin really starts to be a great way to do that. But I always was curious that if you started to do a mold and you had like really intricate parts, like how do you get that? So get the part out with all of the different small details out of there without breaking it again. It seems like it would be interesting. Toby Toys. I'm going to have to check that out for sure. Let me go grab my SD card here. Well, that's cool. We'll have to check some of that out as we start going. Like when we did our board game, we had to make some very simple toy or kind of meeples, I guess. And the problem was that we could not go super complex. But what we ended up doing was creating little weapons and things like that you can kind of plug into your meeple. So that was our solution for not being able to get too detailed with our parts. All right, let's see here. We're going to export this one to build, and we will get this into our Creality. So I'm going to just call it Sea of Thieves, I think. I'll just call it SOT for right now. Save this guy out. So what do you use for your resin printer? What kind of resin printer you got? Do you do slicing in it? Is it kind of proprietary slicing? A lot of people like dog on me for Simplify 3D because you have to pay for it, which is true. It has a cost. And some of the other ones are out there like Cura and a few others that are free. Some of them are proprietary that you can use that come with your printer itself. But I don't know. I just have got used to this Simplify 3D. I like it because I can save some profiles, and I just spent a lot of time learning it. So I figured, why not? All right, I think I got this on the SD card. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to this printer and get this thing started. Let's see here. Which camera angle can we throw on there? Yeah, I understand that. That's tough. Wow, you sound like you have some in-depth kind of character designs that you do. I've not gotten really good at the more organic kind of development here. Like the one that I have on the screen right now, I found online, but I've been using Fusion 360. Of course, use Tinkercad on occasion. That's for more like simple organic shapes. Then I don't know. There's a couple other ones out there. What is it's completely Blender helps. There's a couple other modeling ones that I have on my phone. I can't remember what this one was called. The phone one was fun just because like you always tend to have your phone with you. Let's see what it's called here. I have it on this dude. Oh, do I? Did I even put it back on here? I don't know. I'm not seeing it. Maybe I didn't install it because I didn't think it was oh no, Nomad Sculpt. That's one on the phone that was really cool. That because it was super in depth. It was like $12 on the phone, but you are able to sculpt things and then you can spit it out at different file types, and then you can go and import in other tools as you go along. So that one was cool. All right, I think I got my part all squared away. We're gonna go and 3D print it right now. So let's just jump onto the back cam and then we'll see what we can come up with back there. Yeah, Nomad on the iPad. I have been debating. I'm technology agnostic, so there's not like one type of system that I tend to use. And I've been really wanting like a touch mat. I had an iPad like old school, never had the pencil or anything like that. I've been looking at the Microsoft Studio as well, the transferable. It's like a almost like a laptop, but it also has some capabilities as a tablet. And I thought that would be something that would good. What I'm doing right now, if you're curious, is I am prepping my. Let's see here. I am prepping my screen. I have this little tiny Stream Deck back here on this one, so I'm not as familiar with what I need to push. So what I'm doing is I'm just prepping this screen here. Oh wait, guess what? I think I have another camera that I can pop up here. See, got two of them. You get to see my backside. You get to see my front side. I would say it is the king. The thing is, I need something that I also can do some other work on. When I do my work at I don't know. I need a nice keyboard, and I need to sit it in my lap. And they do have a pencil, so I agree. iPad has some things, but it has some limitations, at least in my workflow for other things I would use it for. I'm not always doing that. I do like a lot of coding or markup or just a lot of writing. The reason I do all this creative stuff is my day job is basically leadership, and I run an IT organization, and so because of that, I don't have a lot of time to be creative, and I need something that does the basic office stuff. You know what I forgot to do? I forgot to go and grab my SD card. Hold on. Yeah, pair it with one of those nice ones. It's magnetic, right? Yeah, you're helping me. You're giving me this angle now. Like I was pretty committed to the Microsoft Studio 2, but now everyone's like, iPad's really good, and one of my coworkers used that. See, the thing is, at work, I use Microsoft. That's what we use. So I use a lot of Teams. I use OneNote like exclusively for all my note taking and things like that. So I did know that once you have the pencil and like OneNote, I can jot into those, so it might work. I don't know. I'm gonna have to check what I do. All right, I am getting this thing ready up. I have an old school Creality that I'm working with today. I probably need to level this bed at some point, but in this case, this is a prototype version of this, so we're just gonna roll with it and see what we can do today. I'll show you the nozzle. It's doing a little leveling right now. I love how it just looks from this angle. You get to see 3D printing from a different lens when you look at it this way. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to kick this one off. I am not seeing my part on here. There it is. Okay, we will be checking in on this part. It's going to take probably about 5 minutes for this thing to heat up and get all ready to go. But what's nice is I can see that bed heating. While we're waiting for that to heat up, let's take a quick peek at some projects that we've been working on. I'm going to throw it over our Workbench cam. This is the Workbench. So what I got here today is a bunch of games that that were online. You might be asking, what's with this Fisher Price little gamer? It's quite hilarious. Oh God. Anyways, my buddy, he found this and he is modifying one of these to actually be playable. So he has a Raspberry Pi, which I have right here, and he bought a screen for his and he's putting it in there. Yep, that's 100% what's going on. So, like I said, my buddy is Mike Azul. He actually joins the show quite often. He's on the Thursday one. He chimes in the chat. He bought this for me, And I don't see him that often. He lives quite a distance away from me, but the last time I saw him, he gave me this, and then he's showing me what he's been up to. Just as of this weekend, he's actually dissected it. He has the screen working. He has games being emulated on SD card. So we're close to having a working version of this. I think I'm going to follow his script after this, and we're going to adapt it. But part of the reason I have it is I can use it for some measurements to help him with any 3D printed parts that he might need. So I will be probably, actually, might as well just do it right now, is taking this thing apart in a minute here, or at least getting it out of the case. But the other thing I've been working on is getting our Game Boy ready to go, because as you might, I mentioned it before, we're making a Game Boy game this year, so it may actually take 2 years to make the Game Boy game. Started 15 years ago trying to make this particular themed Game Boy game called Skull Bob's Adventures. And what we've been doing lately, though, is just validating and making sure we could actually ship this sucker on a cart. This is an original cart. I just got this, one of the latest Game Boy games that I got, like a really mint condition, itchy and scratchy game. So this is like a nice little crown jewel that I recently acquired. I like to do things on original systems as much as possible. So you see I have, this is a Game Boy Color. This is a reshelled Game Boy, but this is the one that I had as a young child. I just put in a new nice case on it recently here, and I had to fix some of the screen and do some soldering inside to make it actually all work. But I don't know, I like that color. Just wanted to be a little bit more colorful on that side. But what we've been doing is we have these cases. I don't know, what's interesting on the colors right here. This is an orange double drop down Game Boy case that we've recently made, and the idea here is we can open it up and we can put in the board in these cases. And so the way that I figured out we could do that, I don't know if I have one with something inside of it. I think I gave all those other ones away. But we found these games online. If you go to like AliExpress, you can buy games. They look like they're kind of like almost, I guess, rip-offs. I did not intend to buy some pirated games. That's not the intention here. I just want the boards inside those games. But if I go into this particular case, which might as well do, is you'll kind of get an idea of what we've been approaching. So there's a couple things. This particular one uses a very specialized kind of screw, so we're going to take that off. I don't know if this light is good enough. Let me see if I can adjust it a little bit. Maybe get a little brighter. Yeah, I'm reading your comment here. It's on a little screen here. So one of the things is there's a tool, if you haven't heard it, it's called GB Studio. And GB Studio is a GUI for making games. And we end up having to go a little deeper than what the GUI can use to do some of our game work. And maybe I'll show you that in a little bit. But it is revitalized the market of Game Boy games. The other thing that I might mention is you see a couple of these gaming systems originals in there. There's a new system, and I got to show you it right here. This is my little Pelican case. So it's a rip-off Pelican case. But we also have what's called the Analog. And so the Analog, you see, is a system. Let's see here. I wonder if I have a version of my game in here. I do not. But the Analog, it does emulation, okay? This little system does emulation. It's like the new school Game Boy. But what's so different about it is it doesn't emulate the game. It emulates the hardware. And why is that important? Well, if you start to go down that rabbit hole, you look up, and it's called FPGA. Right? Don't ask me what that acronym stands for. But what it basically does is there are timings in the way that the chips and things work in systems. And so if you're emulating a game, you're not able to emulate exactly how the hardware worked, and it's really hard to go rebuild the hardware. So having something that can emulate the actual hardware itself, well, you'll get the most original experience that you can out of those games that you have in there. So check that out. It's actually pretty cool. But here's an example. So here's the inside of a version of the game that I got online at one point. And what we had done is I had been working on this case. I think I found like an open source version of the file online. You can kind of see there is. our logo on there. But what's cool is in this version, if this one fits, I should be able to just chuck in this board right into our case. And now I have a custom 3D printed Game Boy case, which, you know, chuck that in there. And then you might ask yourself, well, great, you got a card in there. How the hell are you going to get your game on there? Well, visit Benven. Benven makes this thing called the what is it? The Joey Junior. This is the V2++, and you can then put your Game Boy cart into this, and you plug that sucker in there, and you can actually you can load your games on there. You can load your carts on there. I saw something about a solar flare. It fell away off the screen before I could read it, but it sounded like it was affecting a game you had. But anyway, what I was going to say is so cool about this is that, I don't know, I am a super Game Boy fanatic. I'm a 43-year-old dude, and I still love my Game Boy. And I never thought I'd be able to build on those systems or do anything with those systems. When I was a kid, I never imagined that I'd have the opportunity, just even as a hobby, put it together like this. So that's where I'm at. And I want to be able to build my own game. So I'm going to just rehouse this one in here because this game is still on this cart. And actually, this is a kind of a fun game. It's called Repugnant Bounty, recently made Game Boy game. But what I was going to show you is, well, actually, I'm going to leave this screw out for now. And the reason I wanted to do that is I wanted to show you between the different cases as to what is inside some of these Game Boys. There's a bunch of different PCB boards. Hey, but as we're going along, guess what? 3D printer's kicking off. So let's jump over to that 3D printer. Let's watch the nozzle on this one as it's starting to get this thing kicked off, because this is a fun view, in my opinion. Let me make my... Uh-oh. I got a little bit of a hanger there. See me snatch that real quick? Okay, I'm gonna try to get this thing started. It's gonna be a little slow. I have a skirt that goes around it, so it should kick off pretty well. Okay, it's looking good. So I usually have it do that little skirt at the beginning, and then I clean it up with my tweezers. Then we get to watch it. I did a little Z adjustments all the time. I'm gonna just commit to that one, and we should have a fairly good setup. It's looking pretty good right now. I use this camera more than I look at the actual printer itself because it allows me to kind of tune it in. You'll see on this one, I'm running at 230 degrees to make this one work. It's looking good. So this is layer 1. So I'm going to be doing this swap in about 2 hours into a gray. I think this is going to look cool. It's going to have this like neon backdrop with this kind of gray skull on the top. Look at that. It still has a little bit of a... I don't know if the temperature's right. It seems like it's right. Hairs off. This is the most important layer. It's the first layer. Because if you can't get that first layer tuned in, the rest of it's going to look like crap. And you want it to adhere quite well. I use this when I do a FDM printing. There's a board here, and slip in my mind what it's called, PEI board, I think. And it's got me away from having to use the glue or any of that crap that I used to adhere my prints to. But you have really clean kind of prints when you print on PEI board. I've been using this one for a couple years. We're gonna watch this for a second. Well, while we're watching this, I'm gonna start taking out one of my other Game Boy game cart things in just a second here, so we can take a look at a couple of them. That looks good, right? I don't know. Maybe it doesn't. Alright, so as I go along, what the next piece that I was going to work towards was I wanted to look inside one of these games that I had got online. So they're definitely rip-off ones, so you can kind of see right here in the GoPro. What they are games from China. And I actually just ordered the PCB boards, but they send me a bunch of actual games on them. I guess they're just like games that have been loaded. They're trying to sell them for a rip-off price. So thankfully, I'm not buying the games. I'm not trying to rip anybody off. And what I'm trying to do is get some sort of a cart so that I can load my own game on there and do my own stuff. So let's take a quick peek. Okay, this is looking like it's doing its right stuff on there. We'll check in to the 3D print in just a little bit. But back on the workbench, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at this other one. This uses a different kind of screwdriver. It's like it's almost like a Phillips, but with only 3 heads. And in this particular game, you saw the other one, and we'll look at that one. We'll compare in just a second here. I got to put this screw over here. There's 2 different things, and I'm trying to solve this. This one's very small, and I think it's only going to take original Game Boy games. And it has a soldered on. Wait, is that soldered on? Hold on a second. I think I might be able to slide that battery out if I needed to. Holy crap, you can. Check it out. I can swap this battery out on these little boards here. That was one of my bigger challenges, is that I wanted to be able to find a game. I might have like messed that game up by doing that. I need to find something that actually has a battery, so I can do the save states for the game I have. Now my concern is this one going to be the same, or what is the challenge? Can I even flash these cards? Because look at this, there's 2 different card types in here. This is the one where I think I can save on this in some way. I just haven't figured out how to write to the card. There's no battery on here, but there's a way that you can save it into some sort of RAM on there. This one has a battery on it, but you'll notice there's some different chips and different things on there. I don't know about PCB boards. I got to be honest with you. I don't know to the depth of what I'm looking at here. I can definitely tell you that there's some things in here. I think this is the one that's the processor's kind of chip, and or no, this is, yeah, I think this is the processor. And you can see like the size of the different chips and things that are on these 2 areas. So the challenge that I've been facing recently is, how do I get my card to now fit into this Game Boy thing that I've been creating? And I don't think this one's going to fit because it doesn't have the right kind of things. It has this little hole. There's some other challenges. So I'm going to have to figure out a way that I can modify this so I could actually fit this sucker in there. And we can also have a case for those if that's going to be the ones that we ship out, give away. Okay, so that kind of shows you a little bit of the workbench today. I'm going to check all these things back into their right casings so that we can move forward with some next parts of the show. We're going to actually go look at our game in just a little bit. All right, hold on a second. All right. We have 2 microphones going back and forth between these things. So I'm just making sure I understand. It says, what happened when the solar flare went off? A particle flew at Earth and managed to hit the exact spot on the N64 to change a 0 to 1, and it's never been replicated. Skip a whole game and got bumped into the final boss. Holy crap. Trying to replicate that? How random would that have been? Holy crap. How did they even know that's what happened? That's my question. How would you know that that was a solar flare that made that thing occur? I saw some recent speed runs on Nintendo 64 Mario, and there was like this door that you're supposed to get into. And there was a way that if you hit the door right, you can walk through it. And there was some challenge about it, but it was... I don't think it was going to actually affect the speedrun record once they finally like pulled it all together and figured out what they needed to do with it. But I just love that, like, you know, years upon years later, they're finding new ways to find things in game without having to like hack the game itself, but, you know, do some things. All right, we're putting our carts back together. And we should be good to go. I just needed to look inside that case. I knew it was probably going to look like it did, and I was right. So it means that I'm going to have to do some 3D designs in just a little bit here. All right, so next up, I need to take out this little gamer. Just wanted to see what's inside of that. And that way we're ready to help Mike Azul in any of his work on this system. So The unpacking of the Fisher-Price Little Gamer. You saw it here in Double Drop Down. All right. First of all, I love the sounds on this. They like take it to where it almost sounds like games that you would have played when you were younger, but not exactly the right sound. So let's see how they attach these things. So one thing that's interesting is there's this like little knob right here. Credit to Mike Azul for figuring this out, but apparently this is it's a button outside of America that allows you to change the language. But you know, us Americans, I guess, don't want to be able to change the language on our things. But I think it's actually on the board itself. So let's see here what this looks like behind the scenes. Oh, they have little things you can just undo it. I'm very particular about packaging. I love packaging. I got a bunch of boxes from things that I have. I have boxes that have outlived the actual thing that was in the box initially because I like packaging so much. Think about the design that has to go into making a package that does things. Now, this one is not amazing. I mean, it has some interesting aspects to it where it folds into itself. One piece of cardboard. You can do some of that work. But there is packaging out there that is actually pretty amazing. Like, I know Apple is pretty known for the experience of having really nice made boxes that they unpack their stuff. So that's good. Anyways, the little gamer, not as awesome. But let's see. We got our little gamer out now. Looks like it just has some screws. So you got what? Can't tell if there's a screw in here. I got a little light. Let me see. I can look into this. Oh, apparently that one needs some batteries. Okay, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, potentially 5 if you have to take the battery case off. So 5 screws to get into this thing. Let's get into it. Let's see what we can come up with here. Do I have a screwdriver? That will get me into this, is the question. And I do. We're going to see what here. First of all, I'm going to get this cleaned up. Did not anticipate having the little gamer. The analog out today. But I'm glad I was able to show it off. Hey, and Jackson, I appreciate you jumping in here. You probably saw me and you were like, oh my god, who is this weirdo? And I just appreciate even a little bit of the conversation. Sometimes I'm having to kick this thing off with just off the top of the dome, you know? Not a lot of conversation with folks. So it's cool every once in a while that somebody jumps in and has a conversation. Alright, I want to get these games out of the way. And we will continue with our little journey here. Okay, so we're going to open Little Gamer up. Let's see what it has in store for us. Because we're going to have to make a bezel. I know that one of the things that Mike Azul was letting me know about was that as he took it apart, he's going to need like a bezel for the front end to make that screen actually fit into here. I'm just curious as to what this looks like. I'm hoping like springs and crap aren't going to fall out and shoot at me as I open this thing. I'm not going to take out the battery one right now because I don't think I necessarily need to have that happen. Okay, I can feel some things loosening up in this. At least I have it on camera, so maybe if something does fling out of here, I'll figure out what it is. Oh, I think those buttons are pushing this way. I'm definitely feeling this case release at the moment. All right, let's see here. Okay, got most of the screws out. Get that last one out. All right, let's see what we can do here. Oh, there's coming apart. There is a spring. There's a spring. Not a lot in the little gamer. Not a lot. Got a little board in there. So here's a spring, but it's kind of screwed down. This is for the game cart. This might be, I don't know what like action would be cool to use with the spring mechanism. Never locks in. You just keep hitting it down. Got some taped up things. So let's see here. Let's see if we can disconnect this piece. Which it looks like we can. I just need to being really cautious about it. It's not like, oh, do I need to do something different here? Oh, I see. I have to pinch it like, all right, I'm gonna use a screwdriver for this one. It's one of these situations where you might have to push screwdriver in here to release. what I don't want to do is break the damn thing, because it does have some fun. Like, it would be interesting to keep some of the board in there and some of the sound effects for certain things. Okay, we got that released. So we got the front part of the little gamer. I wonder what kind of carving we're going to have to do to put something in there. Now, I don't know all the pieces that we have that are going to make this thing work, but we got a little speaker right here, and I kind of want to check out these buttons look like. So let's take out this card as well. This little PCB board. It almost would be fun to just make this a singular game device and put a little screen there. All right, there we go. There's your little gamer. Wow, there's actually some stuff going on that makes all the noises. So I'm gonna set that off to the side right there. And let's take a look at all the buttons that are in there. So here's the button that I was talking about before. It's like a blank, and it sits right here. That one goes for the language pieces. These buttons actually have some things that I would expect that you'd have in a game system to be able to touch and push on that board. So let's look at the board again. I'm interested now. Look at that. It has like this little silicone sleeve on there. Things kind of glued on there so you make contact. Let's see here. There's something in there. Yeah, so that you actually make contact. That feels really good for a board. And then let's see here. It looks as though this would be that language contact. I don't see that it's actually on this particular board. So this must be the Americanized board. Okay. Well, we got this thing kind of taken apart. It looks like you can take the screen out as well. So I'm not going to do that right now, but there's a couple screws in there. Be able to release the screen, and we'll be able to have a nice little housing for a future game system. So we'll check in with Mike Azul at some point, see where he's at with his design. I'm going to leave this thing taken apart because I think one of the challenges that we're going to have to figure out is how and what needs to be cut off of this thing so that we can fit in some of the work. Now, I'm not sure if it's just a standard Raspberry Pi, but that's what I have here. And it is in a housing, but theoretically, when you look at how this fits in here, it could fit in there if I took off some of that housing, because there's a couple millimeters extra space. It would have to take some carving to make this out. You have a little SD card, so I don't know, let's see here. I don't know which direction you would fit it into the device to make this work. But what would be really cool is if you could make it to where the SD card kind of sat in there and you could actually put in games. Or maybe you just pop in the SD card. I don't know. We'll figure that out in a little bit. All right, so up to this point on the stream, we have been able to look into our little gamer, which is pretty sweet. I was really interested to see what was inside of that, so we're going to play with that a little bit later as we start to do some of the designs. Just a couple things more on this table. I kind of talked about it last time, but I also got this thing called a Smart Boy. I really kind of thought it was cool. As far as the Smart Boy, what it is, it's you dock your phone in this thing, and what was really interesting about it is well, first of all, let me just show you this. This is hilarious. This is a USB-C. So you can jam it down into here and put it into there and then plug this into your phone so you can get it all programmed and ready to go. And then you take that out and then you're able to push this button in the back and it pops those out. And you dock your phone in there and now you have a playable Game Boy on your phone. Now the cool part about it is you actually play carts out of it. You have to put a cart in there. There are ways to, I guess it just loads, takes the thing off the cart and emulates it, so it's not as cool of a system. It has really bad reviews online, and it was really pain in the ass, but I did get it working on one of my devices at one point. But figured to show that off since we're at the Workbench today. I don't really have a lot of time that I had been talking about the Workbench lately. All right, I'm going to put that stuff away. That is about it. I'm going to go in. I got to pop the top on my favorite, my Topo Chico. Let's do some ASMR. All right. Let's check into this 3D print and see what it's looking like right now. It's coming along pretty well. It's a little bit, it's not too ragged in there. But we're still on the first layer. This is looking good. All right, we're going to head back, and we're going to do some GB Studio stuff in just a second here. Okay, let's get rolling. Next up, we want to continue our journey. We don't need this second camera back there for now, but we will check into this 3D print. Right now, it is, let's see, 26-esque minutes in. It took probably about, 6-7 minutes for it to heat up. So if it's a 4-hour and 5-minute print, and we started the stream, how long have we been streaming? Wow, we've been streaming an hour. So we started kind of at the top of the show. So it's an hour. Just trying to figure out when I actually kicked this off. So 9:30, 8:15, 9, 10. So right around 11-ish, I'm going to check in on this. I better go in and see if I can put a timer on my phone just to remind me to check in at 11 a.m. Mountain here, just to see if it's time for a swap. And so the last thing we need to figure out is when we're going to do that swap. And so what I do with this is I figure out how many layers are. There's 25 layers, and the one we called it out earlier, I think it was around 10 or 11. So we're going to do it at 11. We'll do the swap out. Cool. We are good to go on that. I will leave that up, and we are going to transition into the next part of the show. So I will put this little name key up. So what I got to do is we've been working on a Game Boy game, and it is called Skullbob's Adventures. And so Ryan needs some help. He's our artist. I'm the technical. And as far as the technical is concerned, I've been doing a lot of the programming within the game itself. But what Ryan needs is a way for him to get into the program so that he can start to do some level designs, but without having to build the level and then try to chuck it into the game. And so what that means is I'm going to have to download the project file and make it an easy way for him to actually navigate and get inside our project files without having to do any of the programming. And then he has kind of like almost a playground. I'd call it a playground of some levels that he can start designing. We did this on the show earlier. It looks like I erased my prior version of this, so we're going to start from scratch and we're going to build it out today. Do a little bit of this on the projects. Let me download this version of it though, so you don't have to watch me do all this weird downloading. Oh crap! I don't know where I'm downloading this to. Hopefully it's my desktop, but if it's not, we'll figure it out. Okay, once I get this this downloaded. Oh, it's going to ask me where it wants downloaded. I am also in a conversation this morning with somebody on the Discord chat for GB Studio, and they have been doing some tile swapping. And I know you may not know what the heck that is, but as far as the tile swapping is concerned, it is a way to create immense amount of different character designs and animations within a Game Boy game. There's some limitations in the way that GB Studio works, and we found a way around it. Not me, A. Martinez. I know if you ever watch, and sometimes you watch a little bit of this, I give credit to this guy because he's very also helpful at helping people understand this method. And this morning we were working on, and we'll show it off in just a second here because I gotta get this thing done. All right. Well, maybe. Got to unzip this file, and as I'm doing this, it's giving me some hell right now. So I may have to re-download that file, which is fine. Oh, disappeared for a second. So in any case, in the GB Studio Discord, in GB Studio being Game Boy Studio, it's been a fun thing. My ability to keep talking. I told you, I'm a yapper. I just have to. I have things that come in my head, and it's like a radio show. When I used to be on the radio with DOA, I used to be on the radio at night, and my handle was DOA, and you just have to learn to chit chat and talk about things as you go along. So in that day and age, I had to do a lot of calls from people that were not too sober because they wanted to hear things on the radio. and I had a lot of fun with them. And then that's where I really learned to talk, because you had to kind of make things up on the fly as you go around. But any case, going back to this game, what I'm about to download is this project file again for some reason. I think it kind of messed up this first time when I tried it. But and I don't know, this is an interesting aspect of making Game Boy games. About 3 years ago, I think, is when I discovered that I could get this GB Studio and start to leverage it. And the first thing that I saw with it was, oh man, they give you this demo game. You're able to play with it a little bit. You're able to see how other people have coded it, and you kind of start to see an opportunity for yourself. I didn't know anything about it. But you saw an opportunity for yourself to be able to do things in terms of like, how does a game get made? And they have the Zelda kind of game. They have a platformer game in there, and you start to kind of dissect it, and it really brings your energy up and say, hey, I might be able to do this. I might be able to actually make this game myself. And so you can kind of cobble together what people have done. And as you start to get into it, you start to realize, well, okay, it's not as easy as that. You're going to really have to learn the platform. So spend a bit of time learning the platform and understanding some of the events in there. And then I put it to bed on hiatus for a little bit, because I ended up working on the game, the board game with Ryan. And we've been doing that for a year. When we decided to go to the Game Boy game, we wanted to really up our skills, and the only way you can really do that is you got to be involved in the communities. You got to be able to have conversations with people, help people. One of the things that I really appreciate about being creative is being there with other people and discovering things and collaborating. And I'm not in this for the money. I'm not in because there is no money. There's no money that I'm making right now on this. This is just me having a good time. I'd rather spend my time being creative and helping other people out and just being involved in different communities. I think that's really fun. So you learned to talk about from being a river guide, and yeah, have relied on being able to see the person. Oh yeah, it's because you have to see their. I understand what you're saying. I used to be that way myself, and I used to be entirely a shy person in back in the day. Like when I was a kid, I was terrified to answer the phone. I was terrified at public speaking. All of those things to me just like frightened the crap out of me. And what I ended up doing is I just had to like figure out how, I just knew I was going to need that kind of skill set in my life. And so I don't know, I just always started putting myself in situations to get myself out of it. But one of the things that I was mentioning is I care about people. And so I'm always looking at their reactions. And so communication isn't just about the words that somebody is saying. It's all the nonverbal reactions. It's the way they may pause. It's the inflections they may use. It's the different aspects of how they're communicating. And also like to listen, like listening with intent. So some people will not, they'll listen to respond. And so they're just waiting for the next time they can inject what they're about to say about somebody. But I think it's important that if you want to be a good communicator, is you want to jump in there and really give a crap about the other person, show some interest, start to understand who they are as a person. And I think you're going to have some good ability to communicate. But translate that into the streaming world, it is difficult for sure. So I appreciate the chat sometimes. It helps kind of drive things a little bit further along as we start to go. But yeah, it's a skill set that takes a little bit of time that goes. Yeah, the worst thing for sure as a kid is about asking you to speak or answer a phone. I mean, I was petrified about that. Nowadays, I'm just like jumping in. I speak in front of humongous groups of people, thousands of people now. So maybe there's a little bit of that where I just got that out. And the stream for me has almost helped my work life because it's given me a way to be a better speaker. But one of the other things that's interesting is I've had to curb how I talk at work. Because one of the things is I talk too much. I yap too much on the stream. And so you have to be very specific at what you say, because when I work with folks, I can't just be saying all this stuff. I have to be very specific on what I'm asking. Like put the punchline in the first line that you ask, be very explicit as what you need, be able to work things through without having to add too much conversation, be cognizant of other people in the room. So maybe this is just me being able to get all that extra stuff out and talking about whatever I needed to. You told your boss you didn't like large public speaking, so he forced you to do the safety speech every day for a month. Hey, it's kind of a good boss, right? Well, I don't know. Just from that comment, it's hard to kind of pull that out. But he saw something in you, and wanted to develop it, and he would say, okay, well, there's this challenge here. Maybe get you a little bit better, and push yourself to do some good things. Like, a good boss would want to stretch somebody so that they can really jump into their skill sets or things that they need to improve. So hell yeah. I could kind of tell from that comment if they're going to put you in that situation. It's uncomfortable as hell, for sure, when somebody asks you to stretch like that. But sometimes you get grateful for it, because then you start to grow. That's how you do grow in those situations. All right, I got the game loaded up, so here we go. We're going to go take a peek at the current version of the game. So this is Skull Bob's. Let's see here. I'll make myself a little smaller for her. Ex-military made you grow so much. Heck yeah. You got to be grateful for those givers out there that see potential in other people and want them to grow. I think one of the hardest things about being a boss or a leader is the folks that just don't want to invest in themselves. The ones that really don't have that gumption, that ability to go out there and improve themselves. And they like to blame. They like to say, it's everyone else's fault other than their own. They're not willing to learn. They're not willing to do things. Sometimes it takes some intentionality to be able to get out of that mode and start to really develop yourself. There's a great book. I'm throwing out, tips on everything today. If you've not read the thing called The Slight Edge, I would go and check that out by a gentleman named Jeff Olson. So if you've ever heard about that, seriously, one of the most impactful books that you could probably read, because what it talks about, and I know I'm transitioning a little bit here from just talking about public speaking, but what what that particular book gives you is this really good philosophy on how you might approach life. One of the interesting things is that there are so many how-tos out there. There's so much out in this world that you can look at online or in books, and you can figure your way through this world with how-tos. But the problem is how you implement those how-tos is more of a philosophy. And so if you read The Slight Edge, it gives you some insights about how do you start to invest your time over time to really get to these outcomes that you like. And so one of the things that's really interesting is that people that invest in themselves and they practice something over and over and over, very simple, you will be able to get really good at something. And so, like, for instance, with your public speaking, having to do it every day for a month, you kind of created this habit out of it. And after a while, you probably felt pretty good about it at the end of the month. I don't know. I went a little off here. Go read The Slight Edge, or even a summary of it online. It's worthwhile. We're going to go back into the game itself. So what we're working with today here is Double Drop Down, first Game Boy game, Skull Bob's. And this is our demo version. So we put some demo worlds together, some other things. Yeah, you read the book, you know it. All right. What we're going to do is I wanted to take oh wait, I don't know if that is a book called that, Perfection, or if Slight Edge is a book that you read, but I'm going to check that out. If that is a book, I'm going to jot this down for sure. All right, right now, I think there's going to be some sound on this. It's going to be really annoying if this is the version that it is. Oh, you know what? I can probably, well, we'll see. We'll hear. Oh yeah, this one does have sound. I did not make this sound. Okay, I'm gonna escape out of this for a second because I do not want the sound going off for right now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just take that off for just a second. Where did I have the sound come on? I think it's over here. So we're gonna deactivate the sound. Here we go. I'm gonna deactivate that. Okay. Oh, I love that. Yeah, it does. Deck Perfection is a book. Okay. I love it. We're sharing books today. I'm telling you, go read Slight Edge, and I'm going to go check out this one called Deck Perfection. I'm not really sure what it's about, but it sounds like it's something I should at least check into. serendipitously, I still thought I'd be just streaming today to zero. And here I am having an awesome conversation with Jackson. And yeah, and I'm getting some good tips on some books. I was looking for a new one to read, so I'm going to check this one out. Okay, getting back into it, I think I got the game ready to go without sound this time, just so you can kind of get a little bit of an idea as to what this game's all about. We're making a platformer. Uh-oh, not that. There we go. Okay, no sound right now. So this little dude is Roby. Roby is our guy. Oh, he's got some jumping on. And what we have been doing with this game, we've spent, what is it, about... How many months in the year is it right now? 5 months? Yeah, it's May, right? Yeah, May 26th. So we started in January, and so that's 2 episodes per month in the Hangout side. We do plenty of the gaming and little creative shows like this. We have been building this game. It started with nothing. I mentioned earlier that I had started playing with GB Studio with some of the original stuff that they give you and starting to kind of figure out and dissect and reverse engineer how they made it. This version of the game, I started from scratch. I wiped the slate clean and started figuring out the technical. I've spent probably a good 40, 50 hours at figuring out the technical. Now, the graphics are my buddy Ryan, who's much better at doing graphics. So the collab has created some synergies here between the two of us. And you'll notice there's some weirdness going on. This is just a character design we were messing with last time. You saw something explode over there. So little Roby here, Roby's his name, R-O-B-I. He is in this world of Skullbobs. His grandfather just had passed away, and his grandfather was a great explorer. Now, if you want to see over 15 years ago what this was like with the whole story, we started the story 15 years ago. If you check it out on doubledropdown.com, we'll just take a quick look at Double Dropdown. There is this building a Game Boy game article we wrote. Just gives you a little bit of insight. You can actually go play a version of the game on itch right now. But we also created this episode, and I'm not going to play the whole thing here. We played it a couple times on the show. But we started to make an animation out of this a long time ago. And so just to give you a little context, Roby is the grandchild of this other gentleman by the name of Robert Decker. And so this is the story of what happened to Robert Decker and why we named this thing Skullbob. So you'd go in there and you can watch this little thing. I'll chuck it in the chat if you care about that and wanted to see the little animation that we created over 15 years ago. So we're rehashing what we have been doing since then. Here's the direct link to the YouTube. And if you want to go just to our site, you can check this here. Now it'll be baked into our chat as well on the show. But what we're going to do is I wanted to show you just a little bit what we're trying to do today. So if you run around our little worlds, Ryan and I figured out a way to create this world with pretty much just brute force. I figured out how to make the jumping and the running, and I've been working with some other folks online about some things on how I can make these transitions. One of the transitions that I've been talking about is, first of all, that was a little a six-pack that explodes. But we love the idea that we can jump around this world and be kind of everywhere. Wait, well, I'm curious on something. Hold on. Okay. Oh, it still works. The jukebox works. Yeah. All right. So I made this jukebox the other day that you can actually turn it on and off. But watch this. If I go in a little bit of this screen, you can see if I swing my bat, you can kind of see it, but it is there is a specific way that you can make this character swap between different states. So this swinging state and then this like idle state and him walking around state was almost important. Like, oh yeah, it's the original Game Boy. This is on the Game Boy. Like, this works on original Game Boy right now. We are going to be adding probably some additional color to use the Game Boy Color eventually. But what I wanted to show you is that it takes a lot of effort, and I've been working with this guy named A. Martinez on how you swap between like this idle and this running state to this swinging state. and there's a bunch of other ones we're going to be making as we go along. But when we talk about the Skull Bob's adventure, there is the skull. So Robert Decker, who is the grandfather of this Roby Decker, he found this skull, the Cyclops skull, and there's a mystery that we're unsolving. What's the whole story behind the skull is the question. And so as you start to go through this world, you'll be able to see and understand. And it's really this journey of somebody kind of finding himself. He felt his grandfather wasn't in his life as much. And so now he is kind of finding some interesting things out about this skull. He thought it was just kind of like a draw to this bar that his grandfather had. But the story gets a little deeper than that. It's not just a normal skull. It has some special powers. But check this out. Right now, I'm going to get my dash. So now we got a little dash. So you can kind of see some of the mechanics of the game that we have. We got some stuff that's messed up right there. We got to fix that. So a lot of this game right now, very intro level, just trying to things. Yep, bathroom stinks. You don't want to go in there. So one of the things we were working on up here too was like some enemy stuff. We're gonna beat a ghost. I have a Roby voice. I don't think I could pull it out right now, and I don't think I want to do it on the stream. Oof. That thing should blow you up. All right, check this out. I'm gonna go back. Let's see if I can get it. Oh crap! I didn't do it. All right, so this is a challenge. So if I'm trying to get this paper up here, and what happens is if I go to the pause screen and come back out, it will. Oh, I did too early. It'll actually respawn this little 6-pack that allows me to jump. I'm not timing myself right. I'm looking at the wrong screen. Hold on a second. Let me try this one more time. Oh, all right. I'm not gonna get the paper today. Don't worry about that. But what you can do is you can, and it also respawns the ghost if you go into that thing, so you can beat that ghost up. But what we're gonna do is, let's go to this pause screen as well. So go to the pause screen. We have a map that we're creating. Yeah, some OG cam. We want to do basically a grenade jump with those. So we got this map. Yeah, it has to be timed really perfect. You got loadout screen, which I don't really have any weapons that we have up there. We have our inventory. I've been working on inventory lately. So you see how... Okay, just full disclosure. I don't know anything about programming games. I have been learning and building this. So this was amazing that I was able to even figure out how to make this or do any of the stuff that you're seeing today. But let's see. There was one other one. What was the other thing I had? Oh, settings. I don't really have any settings. Oh yeah, in the settings, this was me just like doing some ghost beating. Make sure we could beat a ghost. All right, we're out of this. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you this key that we need to get. Let's see if I can get it. Okay, here we go. Oh crap! Hitting the wrong button now. There's it's a little rough around the edges here. So if you go into the inventory, you saw everything was question marks just a minute ago. If I go, oh god. Okay, got the key. Now if I go into my inventory, I should see that I have the key. Yeah, the key of entry, which was just a joke. So what we're gonna do, oh no, we don't want to go there. We got the key already. It's all about variables and figuring things out. I'm like trying to keep my head straight on how this whole thing works. Let's see if I can get this going. Okay, so we didn't test it in the very beginning. This is one of our other characters. There's an alien in our game, so let's just see here. I think he talks to you. Let's play a game, Roby. Yeah, I know. We got to get him walking. We're working with some AI walking around, but basically this is it. This is a demo. You go and collect some things, you check things out, and then you unsolve the mystery. There's a little story to it. Yeah, we gotta unlock the door. All right, going back in the hole. All right, I'm done with the demo, just to show you a little bit of what we were doing. So with that, what makes this work, if you're interested, is there's a lot of different pieces at building a game. So let's just take a random level. Let's go into the first one that you jump into. If you go over here, there's this scene setup, if you see on the right-hand side, and you basically call some scripts. You can play it. Go to doubledropdown.com, and we're giving it away for free. You can play it on itch. This version of it, though, is also being helped to be built by our audience. So when we do the Hangouts on Thursday, we're taking insights. We are building it out based off some of the feedback we have. We have a pretty good story arc, but you saw earlier when I went and turned on the jukebox. Well, that jukebox was because somebody in the chat suggested we put a jukebox in the game. So we did it. And also our double drop down logo that comes into the game, this one right here, that was also designed by someone else. They sent us a file of it, and we're like, yeah, well, hell yeah, we'll put it in the game. It'll be fun. But what we've been doing lately is really trying to get this whole world set up in such a way that we can program it, make sure we have all the pieces and parts in there. And so off to the side here, we have like a player setup, how you open your inventory, how you save the game. There's all kinds of little details. And again, like, going back to the slight edge, when I first started this project with Ryan, we know nothing about building a game. We've never built a game in our life. I just took a little bit of time each week, each time, like 10 minutes, hour, a couple hours a day, go figure out how to do things and keep building it. And we've got to this point. And I think we have everything we can and need here to build this full game that we have, this idea that we have that's going through it. We just want to nail it in, get some fun into it as we go along. And so the challenge now has been, how does Ryan go into this game and build the art? And how can he start to do some things so that we can actually make it fun? So what you see here, and as I zoom in, is Pirate Software. No, I haven't. I've never heard of that. Is that a game builder? Is that somebody that builds games? Is like a Twitch channel? I'll have to check it out. But what Ryan and I have been doing is he builds this background, and how this works is GB Studio, which is the platform we're in right now, is a PNG file, and it even gets more complex. Is that these files behind the scenes? If I click on it right here, off onto the right-hand side, you can see it real small. It says tiles. There are 192 tiles. And a tile, as I highlight here, is a square of an 8 by 8 pixel. And the challenge is we can only have 192 unique tiles in here. Now, as you see right here, these tiles repeat. So only one of these count against the 192, but then as you scroll to the side, you can repeat tiles in there. So we had to be very careful to like nail it in. One of the cool things about Game Boy is the challenge of keeping all the resources down to a minimum. You have some numbers at the bottom here that show you like how many actors you can have on a screen. So a character or those bottles that blow up, those are actors. Then you have sprites, and this is a little different. We can go into the sprite sheets for a second, though. If you look at our character design, so let's look at Roby, our default Roby. As you jump into here, you have only certain amount of tiles that you can use in your sprite that's on the screen, and it loads all these different tiles in there. So we're having to be careful on all these different areas of like, how do we make sure that we're staying within there? And then there's also these triggers. So when I go in and I step on this jukebox, you can only have 30 of those triggers in there. So we're having to keep these limitations in mind as we create our levels. And then you'll notice that on top of this like picture that we have in the background, we're able to draw these red boxes and these blue boxes, and that's basically that you can step on things. So the red ones you cannot go through whatsoever. The blue ones you can jump down and up, and you can jump in through those. So pretty cool in terms of the interactivity with the maps that you develop. And then you map those with triggers, and then you can jump between these different maps and you can go through there. So I appreciate the feedback on Pirate Software. So it sounds like he did some OG World of Warcraft dev team. So making indie games, and that's great. Biggest piece of advice is just hell yeah. That I am all about that. I love people that give some good advice. Sometimes you just need to get in, because you know what? first thing you're going to make is going to be crap. And the second thing you're going to make is going to probably still be crap. And it's going to still be that way until you just get your hands wet and you start, diving into this thing. You got to work through it. That's an important lesson, is that you have to fail sometimes to learn. And honestly, what is it? Was it Thomas Edison? He made like some ridiculous amount of like filaments before making the light bulb. Is he the one that made the light bulb? Pretty sure, I think he was. And he had to fail a gazillion times, but he's like, you know what? They're not failures. I just discovered X amount of ways that you don't make a filament for a light bulb. So I like that idea. You got to just start making. You got to start doing. You got to start learning, and then the process will start to work in, and that journey is what's fun about things. So as we start to get through today, though, what the challenge has been is what makes a game fun. What is it that makes it fun? And the thing is, you have to nail it in. It's a little bit of technical, it's a little bit of art. It's a balance between those two worlds. And so what we did is we just took a shot in the dark and made these levels based off of some old animations that we had done a long time ago. And what we're trying to do today is start to figure out where is the fun. How do we start to make the jumps a little bit more? So you saw the grenade jump where we had to like time that. We think it might be a little bit too hard, and so we still need to kind of figure out how we can tune that in a little bit. But beyond just those jumps, like what are parts of the game that are going to make it that are for fun for people to play? So if I were to go into the game and let's go over to this other area. First of all, I'm going to show you where the door says it's locked. So up there's a Game Boy, and you'll kind of see the Game Boy up there. Okay? So first of all, how would you get that Game Boy? You want to get it somewhere, so you can't jump to it. I don't have the dash right now. So first of all, we randomly came across this, but I put some of these blue things. So you have to jump over here, jump over here, and actually, let's see here. Can I jump from this one to this one? So you can get up there. You can jump there. But you can't get to the Game Boy yet. So you're like, what is it going to take to get to the Game Boy? So let me take that mouse off the screen. So if I were to go in, and you saw this happen just a minute ago, is if you go into this door, you can get the dash. Okay, so we got the dash. Now that we have an extra little dash, you kind of are building this ability to like find things. And so there's the dash. Let's see if I can get this. Oof. Okay. I can build the game. I didn't say I can play my own damn game. So this might take me a few times because we're going to get this damn Game Boy. Okay, so I just got to time the jump right. And I may not even... Let's see here. Oh, I was so close that time. All right, we're going to get this Game Boy. I can feel it. It may take me a few more jumps here. All right. Let's get that dash on. Okay. The problem is that I have to run, jump, and then double tap my left key to make this work. So let's get everything ready to go. The hard part is I'm doing this on keyboard. When I do it on my Game Boy, totally, I can nail that in. Let's see here. Not today. And I know the feeling of it too. But my point is that what makes that fun? Is that fun? Is it fun that you have to like use this like little dash to get to this? And it's timed in. And so what we've been trying to do lately is how do we start to build this without having to build this whole level? Because as you might imagine, it takes quite a bit of time to make this level. And I don't know right now, I don't feel like this is as fun. It's a challenge though. Challenge is fun, but if it's not a challenge, all right, got it. So we picked up the Game Boy. So I could debate if that was fun or not. I do kind of feel like you're like, can you get to it? We made that hard on purpose to see like what amount of fun would it take to get to it. So, and it tells a little bit of the story. Gramps gave him this years ago, so it's a little memento of his childhood that he remembers. Now, of course, in the game, whoa, I messed something up. Check that out. He's throwing versions of himself out for some reason. I don't know why that's happening, but I'll have to go and figure out why he's shooting versions of himself out. Oh my God, that's great. I must have been trying to program a projectile. Oh, I know exactly why that's happening. You're supposed to get a gun when you get the Game Boy. And so now he has the ability to have that, but instead of shooting out bullets, because I took that out of the game, you now shoot versions of himself out. Wow, that might be like a new feature that you get in there. Throw your clone at some sort of AI. That's hilarious. I didn't even know. I had a little Easter egg in the game when you do that. But anyways, the point is, how do you nail in the fun? I've been yapping way too long on this. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to take this world and I'm going to make it so that my buddy can actually start to design worlds without having to design the entire background first. And so we've been using this tool called, let's see here, Sprite, which is an editing program for pixel art. So you can always use Photoshop or Affinity Photo or what Designer and these other kind of platforms out there that does pixel art. There's a couple on the iPad too. Or we really prefer this particular program. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to build some worlds for him so that he can start to kind of block out the world, so to speak. So block it out in the sense that he can just draw some platforms, put those platforms on there. And then once we got it all figured out, we're like, yeah, this little jump right here is challenging enough, but it's going to be fun, is what he's going to do. So first of all, before we get there, we need to take a quick break and check on this 3D printer, see how it's going here. Oh, yeah, it's laying on some levels. We're on layer 3 right now. Let's see here. Time check. 10:15, so 45 minutes. I don't think even at 11 it's going to be at the right amount of layers. This is going pretty slow. Because we have to be at layer 11, and we're only on layer 3, and it's been an hour. So in 45 minutes, you would anticipate what? 3 more layers maybe? All right. As long as it's looking good, though. It's pretty huge. That's going to be a huge thing. If I need to print out a bunch of these, I don't know if I can do them at that size. I could probably print 4 of those on the thing. All right, let's get back into it. So we are in Sprite right now. And I'm going to open up a piece of this thing here. Let's go to our desktop. Hold on a sec. I just need to check something. Yeah, okay. Roby. Because we had done a little bit of this on the show, but I don't think I saved that version of it. So we're going to have to go in here and rebuild this asset. So I'm going to open a background asset, which is going to be, let's see here, what size is the question? Do I want to build? I'm going to start with, there's the attic, the entrance, the storage closet. I think that's a good one to start with. Okay. So what we have here is a pixelated version of a background. This is just a graphic. There is nothing interactive about this right now. There is something that you might see in the upper corner there, which we won't even talk about right now. There's some numbers in these tiles here. And I said I wouldn't talk about it. I'll just give you a quick brief thing, is that we use this thing called tile swapping. So you saw the key that was in it when you actually played the game, and I picked up the key in this spot. When we program the game and we put it in there, I swap the background so it looks like there's a key there. And then I put a trigger on it that when you touch the key, it swaps it to just a blank background. And so to be able to do that, you actually have to key into very specific tiles. And those 4 tiles are unique. And by putting numbers on them, it made them unique for me, made it an easy way for me to identify which tiles I needed to swap and where. But that's a whole nother story. We already kind of discovered some of that. What we're going to do today is I need to take this background and I need to take off some of these elements that we have. So I have some layers, which my little head is, maybe I'll do it this way because I don't need this whole screen. I'll put this over on this side. And we'll make it a little bit like this. Because we will... Not that seeing my ugly mug is worth anything, but we'll make it that way. Well, we don't want it to go up to that screen. I have 4 screens, by the way. Okay, so now we have this little setup here that we're going to be working on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to next... Oh, it's going to screw me, isn't it? All right, hold on a second. Let me see if I can make this happen. Sprite, what you gonna do when you start jumping around? It's Windows like Edge issues is what I was having right there. Okay, so I'm going to turn off all of the different pieces and parts that we built in this game. So the arcade machines, the pool table. We want the floor on there. And then we're going to take the key off. So now we have a really good just baseline for what we can use for probably the floor, and it's blank in the background here. So I'm going to save this as something else. So I'm going to save it as, and I'm going to save this back into the backgrounds here. I'm going to call this one, it's not demo. I'm going to call it dev. Yeah, that sounds like a good word. Dev, and then I'll call this one, should I call it small? Maybe I will. I'll just do it small. Right. Dev small, medium, and large. Those will be an extra large. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So what I'm creating here is, first of all, a background. And so let's say we're going to have something jump around in this background, and we really wanted it to be something that was, and I'm going to go ahead and put a new layer in here, and I'll just put this, and I'll call this layer platforms. So we want to jump around and be able to test out the game. So I'm just going to be putting basically black platforms in here. I can just paint on using the mouse. I feel like I'm getting it pretty good. So there's one there, right there. Maybe I'll put one right there. And I could always copy and paste, which I might actually do in just a second here. Let's do that. So if I copy this, we can then start pasting it around. And we can create these platforms. So we can then start to create a level with just platforms and see, okay, is this fun? Can we make this a part of the game that would be interesting? Like, let's go find a key up here. And so then what my friend does is he goes and he creates all the platforms in there. And so let's go ahead and save our little demo. And then I'm going to export this. I got to put it into our game itself. So I got to put it in the right folder here, which is in my assets folder into the backgrounds. I'll save that right there, export it. And now I can go back into the game itself, and I can add this background. So I'm going to go ahead and add a scene, plop that scene right there. And then over on this right-hand side, I got to go find my dev small. Okay, we got a scene that is now in our game. The goal here is, if you're an artist and you do not know the background technical aspects of the game, you need to test your art in here. You need to be able to say, like, okay, is this jump going to be good? Should I put this barrel here? Should I put this here? And if not, how am I going to be able to navigate getting the right timing here without having to recreate my world every time? So let's just use some big black chunks in there like that. Now, we created a scene, and I'm going to call this scene, I'm going to just call it dev small in here. That way we can identify what we're working on here. And actually, I'm gonna be very particular with my capitalization. Dev small. Now that I got dev small in there, we are going to do a little test run of the game, and we'll show you what happens when you test run it. Oh wait, I forgot. There's one element that we need to do. We need to put our character into that scene, and then I have to start with this little play button, and I'm gonna put it in our scene. And now we can actually do a run through and play it. And I'm going to run the game. Now, you're going to notice right off the bat, there's a lot of things that are not going to happen. First of all, there is a default character that I will load into screens, but there's a few things that are going to happen that are interesting. Now, right off the bat, you might be like, oh, it's doing the thing. It pulled the character in there. But look at this. No walking. He does turn around, which is nice. But, whoa. He can walk up, down, and around. What is going on with this? Oh, and going down, he just blanks out completely. Well, the reason for that is, number one, over on the right-hand side, the type is top-down 2D. So we need to change this over to platformer. We want this to be a platformer game. So that's step one. So let's just go back into it and check it out. So we put into platformer. It should take our default platformer character sprite, and it will only allow you to go to the left and to the right. And it should add a little bit of gravity to it. I guess gravity is not the right word, but we'll call it that for now. So our character can go left and right, and it has a little bit of a jump, but that's it. Can't get to the platforms, can't do any of that work right there. So we're gonna have to dress up the scene to get to some things running around. So one of the first things that we would need to do in the scene is let's put in some floors. So I'm gonna go over here to my barriers and I'm gonna chuck in a floor and I'm gonna put that right here. And now we have a floor that he can stand on. And then one of the things that we've been doing is we've been adding a second floor. Don't want it there. Actually, I want it here. Oh, not that way. So it kind of gives this impression that you have a little bit more depth on what you can get into. So if I run this again, you don't get to see him drop to the floor usually because it pops up on this other screen for some reason, but that's okay. It's taking a second to build it, but there we go. Okay, so now we have our guy where you can go down a floor, you can jump a floor, but the thing is he still doesn't have a jump. He has this default jump. He can't get up on any of these ledges, but it's starting to feel a little bit more like a platformer game. So you can kind of run around, you can do that. So how the heck do we get this thing so that we can start using it and working on it with a platformer scene? Well, let me go to another scene that I've already created that I have everything in it, which is this one up here. And what we start with is I have the scene setup, which it calls the player script. And if I go over to the player script, which is a setup, gives all the different things like what happens when you hit the mouse or when you hit this, or how do you switch between these different areas. And here's some sound effects and other things that you do. Set the speed, set some of the jump height and everything like that. So that's the first thing it does. It also opens my inventory script that I have out there. And then it does a little bit of a game script. So what's interesting is I can just come over here. I can copy the event. Then I'm going to go back down to this scene right here. And interestingly enough, I have to add a scene before I do that, or add an event. So I always just throw in this comment event in there because for whatever reason, I have to have that in there so that when I hit this drop down arrow, I can paste the event after. So right now, I've been able to set up the scene, add some floor, and go ahead and call my whole scene setup so I can call my character in. The last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit more on these platforms. Let's see if I can get this going. I don't know where I should put it. I'm going to put it at the bottom here. Whoops. And that way we can kind of run on here as we go. There we go. And now if I test this out, we should have the character running around, him able to swing his bat, him running and jumping at the right height, and also being able to jump on these platforms so we can start testing some of the next steps. Now, what I don't have in here is the dash yet. So he's got his jump. It's a little higher, as you can see, so you can go between these levels. And just like that, we have a scene that you could potentially use to test some of the aspects of what Roby can do. Let's swing his bat. We don't have any enemies in here. I mean, that's a pretty, you would easily be able to see where that would go. I kind of like these platforms having 2 layers to it. You'd have to like tap it just to get down a layer. Because right now, yep, get there, you can just fall all the way back down to the floor. So what we want to do is, and I'm probably not going to do all of it on stream today, but the concept is I need to create this kind of a world so that my buddy can get in here and start to put in things. Well, you know what? Why wouldn't I do this on the stream? I mean, I only have a little bit of time. It's not like I don't have the time to do this, so might as well get it done. So I'm going to go back over into my A sprite. And since I got most of the stuff in here that I need, what I wanted to do was clean up my file a little bit. Let's see here. I have all this extra stuff that's in the file, and I'm kind of particular about naming conventions and things. So this is what a maker's channel, right? I'm on the I don't remember what it's called, this particular stream type that I just classified myself in. But I like to help educate folks as best as possible, or at least just show my strategies. It's not necessarily education as much, but very specific on naming conventions and the way that I organize my files, because as you approach this later down line, you want to be able to reacquaint yourself with what you've been doing. And so there's so much stuff out there. So I highly suggest comments, coming up with some sort of philosophy on naming and other things like that. Since I am making a created kind of space for my friend to get in here. What I don't want is to have all these layers that are hidden to just be super in the way. So I'm going to create a new group. And what this group will allow me to do is I can just at least throw some of these things into the group. Let's see if I can make this work. I don't know how you pull in things into the group. There we go. Did we get it in there? Yeah, that seems like it's part of the group. Let me see here. Yeah, it is. Now, this particular... I should probably put it in the order that it was before. This, you can kind of see it's indented. I'm having to use the right... I wonder if I can do this a different way. Hold on a second. I'm having to click once on the layer, and then I right click, and then I can drag it into the... Click once and drag in. Now you might be asking, well, that seems like it's a really big pain in the ass. Why don't you click on like multiple ones? Okay, let's try that. Maybe I can do that. See, it only brings like 2 at a time. That must be like a limitation of Sprite. I've noticed this before because you can't just chuck a bunch of things into a folder. But what we should have right here is a pretty well organized folder. We're almost there. We have 3 more things. Come on. Get in your folder. All right. Oh, wait. Sweet. 2 more things. And it took them all in there. So now when I close up the folder, we can say like, what would those be called? Like scene? Scene elements would probably be a good term for that. So we got the floor. Now, the wall is really just the color in the back. You got the floor, which we have in there, and then the platform. So I'm going to lock down scene elements. And actually what I'll do is I'm going to turn on the eyeball for all the elements. Ooh, I guess I had some brick background in there that I didn't even remember I had in there before. Interesting. I'm going to turn off the bricks. Let's see here. Turn off the key. Oh, there's 2 bricks in there. There we go. That looks good. So the reason why I want to do that, then you can close up this and you can just turn off your whole scene elements. I'm going to lock it down too so we can't accidentally touch anything. So essentially now we have platforms, the scene elements if he wants to dip in there and pull any of those things that we've had in the scene, floor, and the wall. And so I am going to save this file in our Sprite file format. And now what we're going to do is we're going to just extend this out. So I'm going to stay save as. So that was our small. And what we're going to create is our medium. And I'm just going to create a couple of them. We'll iteratively go bigger. So the medium, save that one out, is I need to extend it. I need to make it a little bit bigger. Now, before I do that, what I need to figure out is I kind of came up with a strategy on how I might name things. I just need to find the file of where I had that, or if I even have it easily accessible here. It might be actually online, so I may look into that in just a second. Oh, you know what? I bet you I chucked that into my assets folder. Hold on just a second here. I probably have this very close by. Where's my folder? That's the question. So I unzipped this file, but I do not know where my folder is. Oh, there it is. I checked it on that screen. Okay. Here we go. Let's get this coming up. Get back to Sprite. And in my folder, I have a development folder that gives me all the details of the world. So when we talk about just jumping in and working, we talked about this earlier. Jackson gave me some insights on that, is that sometimes jumping in is literally putting pen to paper. So this is what we started with our Skull Bob's Tavern Stage 1. This was a mind map of saying, how are all the rooms going to come together? I was trying to think from a mapping standpoint. And so I came up with this concept of a potential way to set this up, which then spawned this next version of it, where we went ahead and mapped it out, and I did some work on figuring out how many pixels high and wide should this be, so that we had some just general ideas. Now, we don't have to be super exact, but if you don't, you have to have it in multiples of 8. And so I decided like there is a small, I guess this would be considered medium, large, and extra large kind of tiles in here. So I needed it up so I could figure out what my medium size would be. So 144 by 256 is what we're going to do for our next version of this. So if we are going to extend this, I'm going to layer, and I will extend this out. Now, the question is it under layer? Or is it under sprite? It is under sprite. It's under canvas size, and we're going to adjust that canvas size. I think I can click on it. Then we're at 166 by 144. Oh, 160, sorry. 160 by 144. So we're going to extend the width on this one to 256. So I'm going to do 256, and I want it to go to the right. Well, so I have to hit to the left to make it go to the right. So then I hit OK. And apparently I already had some floor in there. Now I think Ryan had created the floor in there. I'm going to leave it for now. I feel like this could be okay. So we're going to save this. And then I'm going to do File, Export. We're on the medium. So we need to make sure it's going back into the right folder, which is backgrounds. So we'll do that one next. So Dev Medium. Save that. Cool. And we'll export. Now it's just rinse and repeat. So now we're going to do Save As again. We need to save this one out because we're going to go and create our large version of it. First of all, I'm saving the project files. That's what I'm doing here, so that I have the projects in there. So projects file has been saved as large. Next up, we're just going to extend this out again. The reason why the floor was actually there is because behind the scenes that actually already extends out, I just had a very small room, and the PNG on one of the layers for the floor, this floor layer, I would see if I can even click it, and it does that. Oops, I don't want to click that. I guess it doesn't really show on here, but the floor layer actually extends outside of this containing box that I'm on here. All right, so I'm going to create the large canvas size. Just click on it, I guess. And I'm going to extend it out. And large is what? 400. Okay. Do that at 400. And the floor keeps extending, so that's good for us. So we are going to save that one. So we're on large, yep. And we will export our large into our backgrounds. Here we go. Cool. And I guess we're going to go for extra large. I think extra large will be the last one that I'm able to build for him. And then he can build his own. If he ever wants to do any outside of this, then good on him. So we will save this one as an extra large. I'm just going to put the word X in there, or the letter X. Extra large. Save that dude. And finally, we will change our canvas size. And what would we say, 800? I think that would be good for an extra large, because it's like basically doubling the large. Oh, okay. Do we have enough floor? Hell yeah, we do. All right. Save that sucker, and then finally export as, and we're going to go throw that back into our backgrounds folder. You get to watch it all live here. If I was going to record a video for this, I would cut that out and you would see it in 2 seconds. But hey, thanks for Jackson for hanging out with us today just to be able to see this out. Do we have anybody else out there in the stream? I see that there are 3 viewers currently, but not a lot of chitty chat from everyone else today. Okay, we have our extra large screen set up. We are ready to go. Let's go back into GB Studio and just finish out building up his dev environment. This will be really good. I'm actually glad I got this done. So first of all, I have some of these demo cutscenes I'm going to move down a little bit because I don't want them to be in the way for what we're about to do. That's probably good enough. Let's see here. We have 4. So 1, 2, 3. Maybe I'll move down just a tad bit more. These cutscenes aren't that great yet, but we're gonna get better at it. Getting some pixel art. We actually lifted these ones out of some of the video that I had shared earlier in the stream. So we got our small room. So we're just going to keep adding rooms in here. So our next scene we're going to add is our medium. There's our dev medium. And I'll even call it dev medium. So they all group together. See, spend the time. Spend the time doing the things, because the reason I am naming these over here is on this left-hand side, it actually sorts things by whatever you call it. So it's alphabetized. And then that way I put the dev as the prefix here, so that sorts everything that's considered dev together. And you can quickly find those scenes as you go in your world. So you got dev medium, and we're going to have to put the whole scripts in there in a second. We'll do that in a minute. We're just going to create the rest of the scenes. We got the large one in there. And there is our large. Call that one dev large. And then we're going to finalize with our last one, our extra large. Now this isn't going to preclude us from having to add in additional scenes. I just changed out in the platformer. I did a little bit out of order, but I will do that in all of them shortly here. And dev extra large. Cool. So we now have our multiple scenes. We got the platforms in there that he can start to work with. They all kind of look the same. So the last thing that I want to do is I need to go through them all, make sure they're in platformer type. So dev small's there, change medium, large, and extra large to platformer. Let's see here. What else do we want to do? I am not going to put the platforms with any kinds of aspects to them in terms of floor, but I will put the floor in for him. I will do that for this side of it. Might as well. First of all, I'm going to actually put this kind of floor into here. Oof. Not very good at drawing a straight line with the mouse. If I was in an iPad with the pencil, which is king, it would be amazing. All right. There's that one. There's this one. I'm having to go just perfectly to the right side, so it really doesn't matter because you can't get to anything off to the right when I do that, or below this. But I'm kind of a stickler for things being exact, so I'm going to do that. Okay, this is going to be the pain in the ass one, and I wish I could copy and paste these, but you can't. You might be saying, why are you just painting it on? Well, that's the way it goes. It's a little easy. It's a little harder. You got to paint it on. You got to put in the time. You did the crime. You got to put in the time, as they might say that. Well, I don't know what crime I did. The crime of trying to build a Game Boy game, which is not really a crime. It's pretty awesome, actually. All right. We are nearly to the point where we can put our other floor in, and we have this thing. You know what? I'm going to save this. Always save, so some glitch doesn't happen, which happens to me all the time. And I screw something up. All right, I'm making my way through. I really do want to play Fallout in a little bit. I had been spending some time off stream getting some weaponry set up that I had collected quite a bit of years ago. And I had collected so much stuff that I had to spend probably a good 3 or 4 hours just going to shop owners and trading to be able to get my inventory a little less. But it was sweet that I spent so much time. I spent over 10 in-game days, not in-game, literal days playing that, and I had collected so much stuff that it took me another additional couple hours to be able to spend and trade all the crap that I had collected. But now I have some pretty sweet guns in Fallout. I don't know. I'm trying to fill in the discussion points as I go here. I'm almost done with this boring painting on crap onto this world here. Hey Jackson, I know you're out there, or maybe not. Maybe you just are I can't leave this guy's stream because I talked to him earlier, and there's this pressure to be listening to somebody on stream at some point. It's never pressure. If you ever need to step away or whatever, you should always do that. I'll just be here yapping my time away. Okay, we got all of the different scenes ready. The last element of this is I need to go in and add my little setup scripts, and then we'll do a little testing and make sure we're good to go. So we'll add a comment there, add a comment here, and add a comment here. Now, one interesting thing that just came up with GB Studio that I'm kind of excited about is they just came out with GB Studio 4, version 4, which has full color capabilities. So I suspect we'd be able to have this awesome design that we have here of the green background, but if you adopt the new version, you turn color mode on only, what ends up happening is you can't play it on the original Game Boy, but you are able to play it on the Game Boy Color. So I think our game is going to eventually be on the Game Boy Color anyway, because we did want to have extra things that we could have within the game itself in terms of just scenes and things that are going to be a little bit bigger. And the Game Boy Color is what helps us afford that. All right. I think I have set this sucker up. Let's just get everything organized. We'll start from the top. So dev small, comment script there on platformer. Same thing for medium. For whatever reason, I put the scene before that. Okay, put the comments at the top. All right, let's give it a test. Let's just run them all through. Oh, wait, you know what I should do? Let's put the vial in there. Why do we want to put the vial in there? I should be able to copy it. Where is our vial? Here it is. Just in case. Just in case we needed to put the vial in some of these maps. Maybe I should put it over here. No, I'll put it right here. I like that. But just right under, same place in every single one of them. I don't know if that will actually trigger the vial. I think I put everything. Yeah, I did. All right, let's check it out. First of all, we should know the first one would work, at least running around. And I don't know, maybe there's another like pickup or something that I can chuck in these little test worlds here. But I think we're nearly close to getting to the checkpoint that I wanted to get to today of building these worlds. Extra, or I don't know if extra small would be too small. Medium, large. All right, here's our first world. Got Roby running around. He's got the bat. You can't jump on these tiles because I haven't put anything in there. Oh, it's saying I got the dash. Yeah. Okay, cool. So that's the first one. Let's go and put him in the second one. If this second one works, I know we're good to go and I won't have to do anything else. Basically, if the first one worked, the second one is going to work. And we have a dev world that should be available for you to play in, Ryan. So, Ryan, I think this video might also be worthwhile for Ryan to watch because then he'll know how I set this up and then how to kind of edit things. But here we go. Okay. Get the vial. Yep. Okay, this world works. It's great. Okay, so the last thing that I'd like to do in this setup is just go back to Sprite for a second here. And just show Ryan, this is the benefit for Ryan. So if he was going to go into this game and maybe on the large map decided to build some more tiles or things like this, all he has to do now is the asset file or the Sprite file exists within our build folder. So you're going to have to go to that build folder, Ryan, and I'll just actually show you what you're going to have to go to. So once you get into our build folder, you're going to want to, it's actually more just our game folder with all our project files. You're going to go into the assets folder. You're going to go in the background sprites folder. And this is where you're going to find all of our background sprites. You have your dev ones that you're going to work on right there. So get into those dev sprites. Once you're there, go ahead and open up an Sprite. And on the platforms layer, that's where you're going to go ahead and put your different platforms. You can test that out. So you can put whatever the heck you want on your platforms. You can put them, they don't have to be a black box, but they could be. So then we can do some testing out. I don't think Snap is on. Maybe it is, because you have to be zoomed in. Yeah, snap is on if you zoom in a little bit. So let's play with this one a little bit. We're gonna, I think 4. I don't know if I can jump 4. Oh yeah, you probably do a 4 platformer. I really wanted, oh, you know what? I'm gonna do one other thing. I wanted to make a very specific type, and we're gonna do this in just a second here. Okay, so Ryan, you put your platforms in there, you get it all scoped out in the world. Once you save your A-Sprite file, and you can make other platform layers if you want to test a couple different ones of them. I know you know how to use A-Sprite, but then when you export, just make sure it's dumping back over into that backgrounds folder, which it does. It will overwrite the original file, but what's nice is as long as you're not changing that canvas size or doing anything more, as long as you're just editing it itself, it should overwrite, and now you'll have all those additional tiles on there that you can work with it. And so what I'm thinking here is, like in this case, what would be fun is if we go ahead and put on some different pieces here. We're almost at our 11 o'clock time frame. Let's see here. Paint these tiles on here. I assume, well, in this particular one, that you might need the dash to be able to make it between these tile sets. We're going to have to put a double jump in here. I think a double jump would be sweet, or like some sort of thing where you like jump on it and auto shoot you up. That might be more fun. Okay, so since we're doing this, we're just going to test it out. We're going to put you down over here. And I'm going to drop you into the world here. So you just drop your little player. Make sure you put your player head in the particular area you want to do your testing. And then you use all the tools that are over here for you to do some of that testing. So for instance, if you're painting on things, the bricks will help you paint on bricks. You have a couple different types. There is this slope one. We may have some challenges with slope. So right now I would stay away from slope for now. But you can use the solid floor. You can use the collision, where it's basically a collision on the top, but you can jump up through it, or the collision on the bottom, which means that you can't jump down, but you can jump up. And then there's a couple other ones, and you also have your ladder as well. But once we start this world, what we should have is an ability to jump up those platforms. You can get your vial, and then hopefully you can dash across a couple of those platforms. So you have a fully testable dev world for yourself with all the other SkullBob's aspects in it. And so here's what we got. And let's just adjust this a little bit right here for this demo. I love that you can make that nice and big like that. Okay, so let's test it out. Yeah. It looks like I could actually make the jumps. So you might want to put those a little bit further. Can you dash across them? Oh, you could. So if you were like trying to do pixel perfect stuff, but the dash gets you across as well. So the dashes of like if you had to jump. So what I would think that you would do is if you went back into A-Sprite and you just found out that, hey, that jump is too damn easy, what you'd probably want to do is go and grab one of these platforms and maybe pull it out a couple. Let's try that. Let's see if that's a good test. And then now that we already got that export all set up, if you hit export as, you don't have to hit this little 3 dots anymore. You can just hit export, and it does give you the thing that says, hey, you're going to overwrite something. I'm just going to click the checkbox that we're good. And you'll notice that it actually loads that in there pretty quickly and easily for yourself, so you don't have to necessarily do that. Now I'm going to delete that part and then add some more to there. And then we're going to test this. I want to see if I can get it to where the jump is not attainable. I don't think you can make that jump right now. But the idea here is now you can tweak it a little bit without having to recreate an entire scene. Because you wouldn't want to create a scene where you had a light hanging right here and then it wasn't going to actually work like you expected it to work. Okay, so here we go. We got our final scene ready to test out, and we got Roby in there. Let's get your vial. Yeah, you can dash, buddy. So let me see if I can make this jump. Damn it, I can still make the jump. So we're going to have to, okay, let's see how many he can jump. Let's see if I can. So if I get to the edge of it, he gets like right into the middle of that. Let's make a ridiculous jump now. See, now I'm getting into the world of designing like jumps. This is ridiculous. I think that's too much, but that's why we're doing this. Let's export that. And now let's erase that one. That might be doable. One other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take away the little dialogue. Oh, actually, I'll just disable it right now. You're just going to get the dash. Once you run into that thing, I'll disable it on some of the other ones as well, just so that you don't have to see that every single time. Unless you find it something that you necessarily need to do. All right, where's our world? Here we go. So now when you get your dash, you should just get it. You don't even have to like see some notification that you got it. Or at least I think that's how it should work. Yep, you got it. Let me make sure you got it. Yeah. All right, jump. Oh, okay. So it is a little far, but this is sweet. We're tuning it in. We're figuring out how many tiles between a dash jump can you make to make that happen. All right, I think you got the point. This is kind of fun now. So I jumped, it's about 1, 2, 3-ish tiles. Let's go back into here. Let's take it like right there. I think that's going to tune it in. Get us right where we want to be. And export that sucker, and let's get back in. Should be, oh, I need to get my my painter on. Paint that. What I'm going to do just as we're doing this is, instead of it having a dialogue, I'm going to have it shake the screen as well. So it says, so I'm going to add an event. It'll just be a little indicator that you got something going on. So camera shake. Put that right when you touch the vial. You'll get it for just a little bit of a second. I'll do a diagonal one. I'm going to copy that event just so we can put it on all of these guys. So if you ever want to turn the dialogue on, you surely can do that, but this is just so you have some visual, or yeah, I guess it would be a visual indication that you did something. So let's disable this event, and finally the last one, we will paste event after and disable this event. Oh, I should check in this thing. Hold on a second. Hold the boat. Let's see where our nozzle's at. Woo! We are in layer 8. Holy crap. Maybe we are going to get there. It's almost 11 o'clock. Got 4 minutes from there. We're on layer 8 right now. Almost ready for a swap. I'm glad I checked. We did not think that was where we were going to be. Okay. So we got all of our scenes set up where you get a little bit of a shake. So what I'm expecting now is that you get your thing, you get a noise, you get a shake, and you have a testable world because you have one of our elements in here of being able to have that collectible. Now, you might be wondering why it's a Game Boy when you see it right here on this screen, but then when you come on over here, it's a vial. Well, what happens is we got a bunch of items in one single sprite sheet, and it allows you to select which frame in that sprite sheet that you're picking from. And that's why that's working like that. And the first frame is a Game Boy. All right, let's get this thing going. Yeah, you got your vial, and jump. Oh, crap. Oh, crap. Can't even make my own jumps. Let's see here. Yeah! Success! That's a challenge. And it's a fun one at that. That's like really good. Ryan, we got the jump, the platform jump challenge. So you have to like maybe jump up on some sort of platform up here, get your way across the world, and get to that ledge. All right. Yeah. So we made a testable world. So I suspect there's going to be like what we call the behind the scenes lands that we'll create that will just have a bunch of platforms for us to do things and collect things. All right. Can I make this last one? Yeah, no, I appreciate the lurk, Jackson. Seriously, it's awesome you've been able to hang out this long. Not everyone always, I was saying earlier too that don't feel obligated to hang around since there's only a couple in the stream today, but definitely appreciate the support. We like hanging out and being able to kind of show this world. So we got to a really good checkpoint now. So we started a 3D print today. We got a bunch of layers in it. We've been working on this aspect of the game. So I'm going to ship this to Ryan shortly here. He will also have a link to this part of the video where he can learn how to use this tool, because I know he's been having some questions around how he can get into this and start working on it. So I think the only lesson I would say from Ryan's perspective is that he just needs to move this little play button by pulling it to where he wants to do his testing, depending on what size of a world that he wants to build. And then that it'll just load in there and it'll have all the pieces and parts that he needs to do. So that will wrap on this one. Oh, snap. I want a slice of pineapple pizza added somewhere in the game, and I'll be here till that happens. You want pineapple pizza in the game? All right, you know what? You hung out with me for over like 2 hours here. We're going to put a piece of pizza in this game. I don't know what the thing is, but we're going to make a piece of pizza. But I need to do something really quick. I need to go and I will be back. Give me 1 minute. But while I am away, I'm going to show you the nozzle cam since that's one's fun to watch. Be right back. I wasn't gone too long. That was a quick one. I just needed to run in the other room and check on something. And back in action. Okay, so what we want to do is a pineapple pizza. This is called, what are we going to call this pizza? It has to have your name on it now. I got to take a note on this. It's going to call it a, should I call it a Jackson pizza? It's a pineapple pizza. How do you make a pineapple looking pizza in a game is my question. I am going to use some AI to assist, and then we're going to use Sprite to kind of finalize this thing. So here's what we're going to do. I am going to get into Sprite right now. I'm going to open up my sprite sheets so I can get a good size on this. Now those are collectible items. So here's our collectible items sheet. We got Game Boy, the key, the pencil. We got the little vial, and I have plenty of other little spots here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a save as, and I'm going to call this one collectibles, and we'll call it pineapple pizza. All right, got pineapple pizza. I spelled pineapple right? No, I did not. All right, we're good. Collectible pineapple pizza. So I wanted to change that just because I need to erase some pieces off of this one. So let's see here. There's extra details on that one for some reason. Okay. So on this side, I'm gonna put it in this slot for right now. So to be able to do this, and why I'm going to use AI is because I have been I am challenged in terms of my artistic ability with pixel art, but that's why Ryan does all that work. So what I'm going to do today, though, is I'm going to use my ChatGPT to potentially help me out. So let's see what we can do with ChatGPT. Give me just a second. Get me all loaded up, and we'll be able to make that happen. Oh, you're going to make me a pizza real quick. Hell yeah. You need to do that. That's awesome. I was just going to say, like, create a Game Boy pizza pixel art. I just needed something to get some inspirato. I'm not going to just use what it spits out for me. Yeah, I mean, technically pizza's really not that hard. I agree. So, you know what? Yeah, you want to spit that out, I'll throw it in the game. So, that's how we can make this happen. So we're going to see what ChatGPT can come up with. Create a Game Boy Oh, whoa, that's cool. I like that anyway. It's a Game Boy pizza pixel. Oh, man. So let's see here. I love that graphic that just came up, and it even says Game Boy on it. That Game Boy is looking pretty hot on that one. So, and I know what you're thinking too is that, like, screw AI because it takes away our jobs and other things. And I actually have a background in graphic design myself, but this is years ago, more on the marketing and creating website side of the house. And so I did a lot in that space back in, it's been a while now. It's been 2003 to about 2014. But today, well, you got to use AI. You got to use the tools. I love it. So good. Some people have been pretty polarized about that. Yeah, it is. Being able to, like, take something in your head and shoot it out. You know, one thing I was going to show you, if you're going to make the pizza, I'm going to show you one quick thing that I did with AI that I was, like, blown away. I did web development for a number of years, but on the double drop down site, I was like, you know what? I need to create a pixel generator. And so what I did was I was like, can I use AI to do this? I used to make little web apps back in the day, but it would take me months and I'd have to do all this research and contract and do all this stuff. Well, the other day, and this is probably about 2 months ago, I made this application through ChatGPT. It spent me probably about, I don't know, 7 hours to get it all perfected. But this little web app, what it allows me to do is I can reset this tile, first of all, is it loads this little world. I can randomly generate a tile. Now it's asking, I even put all these, I asked it to put these boxes in here so it won't actually overwrite what you do. It'll do an auto-generated tile. I created a reset where I can reset it to nothing. Below, what it does is it creates like a duplicative pattern generator for it. But I wanted to make a 16 by 16 pixel thing for Game Boys. And so what I also can do is I can go in here and you can, oh wait, I have to turn my edit mode on. See, I can't touch anything. I did that because I wanted to use this on my phone. So I toggle edit mode on. I can make little pixels. I am not a web programmer, but I use the hell out of ChatGPT to make this kind of thing. So just a cool little way that now on my phone, when I'm like, oh, I want to make a little Game Boy pixel or I have an idea, I can do this. And then what was really hot is that also made it store it in local storage so that if I go away from it, I click it back into it, it'll have the last thing that you had on there. So I use it on my phone all the time. But anyways, I could hypothetically use this to make my pizza right now. So maybe that's what we'll do. Maybe I'm going to use this as my pizza editor. So if you're going to make a piece of pizza, what would you almost need like a little curve to it. Like you want the pizza, it to be a slice of it. This would be a cool way to do it. Let's see here. This is going to be the hard part. Here, let me do this. I'm going to do a couple things. I need some inspiration. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my ChatGPT. And here, I'm going to open my pixel editor. Okay, got that open in ChatGPT. So a pixel slice of pizza. Because I need it to be 16 by 16 anyway. This is cool. I didn't even think about that until we started like showing it off. So if I can get a pixel slice of pizza, it's going to be colored for sure. That's okay. So it's pineapple pizza. So let's say a Game Boy themed 16, and it does not give you exactly 16 by 16 pixel size. Pixel sized slice of pineapple pizza. Yeah. Let's see what this goes out. Where can you share your pizza slice? Well, that's a good question. How would you get that to me? Is there a way that you're able to send me a link? That would be sweet. I think what you could do is you could email. Or wait. There's got to be a different way to do it. You know what you could do is if you go to, because we don't want to like be chucking our emails on open chats and things like that. Yeah, you got me. You got a link here. Check it out. Pineapple pizza from ChatGPT is they literally made the pizza look like it's a piece of pineapple. Oh my god. Actually, I like that piece of pizza though. It looks very delicious. I'm getting kind of hungry for some pizza right now. But since you got a piece of pizza, we're going to use the piece of pizza you have because I think that's going to be cooler. So I'm going to reset what I got here. And if you're able to just share like a quick link or like a Dropbox or something, or I don't even know what you would share. You could share that in the chat. I'll grab it and I can pull it out and we can work on it right now, which would be fun. I got to name it. I got to put you in the credits now when we have our pizza slice in here. So we got jacksonriley.cool. All right. Make sure I get that down. Should be fun. We got jacksonriley.cool, the graphic designer, helping with some of the pineapple pizza for our Skull Bobs game. And we're going to be streaming this Thursday evening. We'll be talking about this with Ryan. And we love the collab. It's fun. Pineapple pizza. What kind of graphic designing do you do? Sounds like my buddy Ryan, he's got a degree, a couple of them actually. He went to SCAD. It puts little things. I think that was your link. It doesn't want to share the link in the chat. Here's what we could do. I think on the double drop down. Let's see here. If you want to submit something here, full name. There's no way for me to send it that way. Shoot. Let's do this. There's got to be a way that I can create a message. Discord. Yeah. Hit us up in Discord. We have a Discord. Let's do this. I'm going to add you to our double drop down. How about that? I'll send you an invite link in the chat right now. That'll be a good way to do it. I'm going to invite you. Do you have a Discord name? This will expire in 7 days anyway, so that's fine. Here you go. Join our Discord. Welcome to Double Drop Down. So anybody who's watching can join the Discord with that link, at least from 7 days from now. So yeah, 7 days from May 26 on. So I don't know, 7 days from now, whatever that looks like. Yeah, you have jump in there. We like to share things. It's a pretty small Discord at this point, so it's the double drop down one though. If you're willing to jump in, I should have said that at the beginning. But yeah, if you can get into there, let us know, and then we'll go from there. And then as you're doing that, I'm going to get this tile generator and start getting like a pizza shape figured out. Because if this is 16 pixels, I probably want it to be like almost 16 pixels. This is going to be a weird slice of pizza here. I don't know why my Twitch doesn't allow certain URLs. I think it was because we were getting spammed on a lot. That was our challenge before. All right. Let's see here. I found it. Sweet. Heck yeah. Let's take a look at this pizza. Pizza emoji. Hell yeah. I love that pizza. You made that pizza, huh? It looks great. There it is. This is from jacksonriley.cool. And shit, that's your actual website. It is jacksonriley.cool, right? Like if I went to that would take me to your website, right? I don't know if you want me to bring it up on the stream. I'll do it off stream right here. Oh, it says yeah, it's your portfolio. Hey, check out Jackson Riley, who's helping out today. If you watch this stream ever, graphic designer here, has a bunch of cool stuff. Love that design. Throwing up the peace sign. That is like something that is amazing. Check him out right here, Jackson Riley. All right, we're using the pizza though. We're gonna use this as our. Let's do this. We're gonna put it off to the side. This is gonna be our reference as we go forward here. A little pizza reference. This will be fun. The hard part about working with pixels is trying to get it like within an 8x8 pixel grid. So it's like there's almost this slight. Let's see here. I'm gonna just chuck this right here. I did not make a. Sweet. There's a lot of other projects in there. I will definitely bring this up. We're going to put it on our show notes for our Thursday show. Give you some credit. We always like to talk with other folks that are in there. Yep. Are you do you take contracts? Is that what you do, or is it your own business, or you just work as a graphic designer with a company? I always kind of like to learn about folks, what they've been up to. We're hiring a musician for our version of this game. Hell yeah. Freelance. Okay, I'm just going to like kind of put in a version of pizza in here. It's going to look bad for a minute, but we all know you got to kind of play with it. Just want to get some general scoped out parts. And now I'm having to use the Game Boy colors too. Well, that's awesome. What's been your coolest account that you've had to work on? Anything that you've done lately that you can talk about out loud? I know that my buddy Ryan, who we worked for the Olympics. He did. I didn't. He did this Olympic museum recently. Did all the design with him and his wife there. So that was a really cool project he showed us. This is starting to look like they're... Oh, nice. You made all via... Okay. All the print files for their staging and booths. Hell yeah. Congratulations on that. That's amazing. The cool thing about it is, it's like, as designers... we have all our marks in different ways that everyone else sees it, and you think of all the stars and the people doing all the stuff, but the true stars are the people that put all the stuff together to make it look amazing, like the graphics that are all over the field, the graphics that are on the different sides of buildings, the things that are happening along the way. So congratulations, that's an awesome one. And I don't know what I watched the Super Bowl on this last time. Okay, my pizza's coming along kind of bad right now. Not terrible. I don't know if I like that little end right there. I'm using yours as kind of like, I see that this line isn't exactly straight up and down, and I like that it kind of curves a little bit up. I'm just showing how bad my skills are at actually drawing something. I want to work on this crust a little bit better. I don't want it to touch the side. I kind of want it to be like in the middle here, so where like the pixels don't actually ever go to the edge. I might have to put a couple of them to the edge as I go into this. Like I said, I am not the greatest of designers when it comes to pixel art, but what Ryan will help do is we can probably take this one to ground. We'll maybe use a little bit of it on there on stream. It's looking okay though. I kind of like where this is headed. I like that there's a piece of pizza that needs to come into the game. See what it takes to get it there. All right. Here we go. Oh no. Maybe I will put it. So it's kind of like a little bit of a floppy pizza. Now the thing that's going to be hard is how do you make a pineapple? Like in a pizza? How would I guess it would just be, I don't know. Put something in there. I'm going to put this as the pizza base. It's the sauce. I just hit Control Z, thinking that I had Control Z programmed in here. God, the programmer of this thing should put in Control Z. What a lazy, lazy person. All right. I think if I were going to put pineapple, I can't make it look like pepperoni. Yeah. Well, it's cool to hear about that. I'm going to have to go and like check some of that out. And it's probably in your website too. I would suspect I would put that on my website if I did that. It's a good claim to fame. Look, it almost looks like a little happy pizza. All right, this looks like crap. I know. So don't judge me. It doesn't look as amazing as what you just created. But what I'm going to do is I am going to... NDA. Oh, wait. You're talking about it. Oh shit! I'm not talking about anything anymore. All right, let's see here. Yeah, you can't show off some of the parts, I guess. This pizza right now. Yeah, they're pretty. If you're working with the NFL, they're pretty strict with a lot of stuff. I've seen this before. Oh, I should probably put some different colors on the outskirts here. It might work. I guess it depends on who you're working with. I don't know. I'm just playing around with what I'm doing right now. I don't know if this is going to look great. I don't think that this color, I think this color actually turns black if I put it in the game itself. So we'll see. I feel like I'm really struggling. Got to put myself on the spot here to make pizza. But it's good. I love the challenge. Yeah, fair enough. I like that there's 4 people watching. I wonder who those people might be. They're like lurking off in there. Maybe it is CBS. They're like, Jackson Riley, cool. We need to get in on this. Let's figure out if he's been talking about his thing. Oh man. Yeah, sometimes I get nervous. I have a few streamers that I watch and they say things and I'm like, ooh, should you be saying that on your stream? I don't know. I got to watch what I say in my stream too. I try to make it as family as possible because, yeah. Well, I don't want to curse and things. Like I do have a very, I don't know. I'm an executive in IT. So there's a lot of political pieces to my job that I have to be very careful about. People do know I stream though. They know I have this set up. They usually trip out when I show them my setup and I'm on a Teams call or something. They're like, what the heck is going on in your background? I'm like, well, I stream. Don't worry about that. All right, this pizza is kind of coming along here. Hey, I spent a lot of years like as starting in graphic design, all these things. I've failed up into this. It's just I like to work with people here. This is really what I love to do. If I could, my future would be me just chilling, doing a lot of graphic design, just living a simple life, hanging out with my my wife and kiddos. And that's about it, man. I grind. Oh yeah, fail up. Well, it's just because when things and challenges would happen, I was just like, okay, let me help you problem solve. Let me do the thing. And I did it enough that I ended up getting that. This piece of pizza looks like crap and I'm spending so much time on it. But you know what? I'm gonna stop here because it does have like a pizza-esque kind of look. I feel like this is good enough for right now. Going back to what we said earlier, though, sometimes you just got to keep failing, and the failing is maybe not a bad thing. So, you know, just keep your head up and keep grinding, man. That's what I'm doing. Sometimes I feel like, am I doing the thing that I really, really want to do? Yeah, I'm kind of seeing pizza, and this is at like a zoomed in scale. So when you get a little bit closer, I almost want like a little shadow in this bottom part. The problem that I'm thinking is going to happen here is that I don't think it takes this black color that I'm using. Like this would be really good if it took this extra green, but I don't think I have 3 colors of green to work on. I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna export this. Oh yeah, when you export as the Game Boy sound, I went a little out on it. All right, let's see what we can go. Okay, we got most of it. That was good. Thank you for the reference pizza. Go check out Jackson Riley. All right, let's jump back into here. And then I am going to open my just made pizza. Uh-oh, hold on, I gotta check something out. Okay, we're on layer 10. Whoosh! I got a little bit nervous there for a second because I gotta swap this out. I was yapping this time, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna jump back to that in just a second because I gotta get ready for it. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open up my little piece of pizza and see if I can't get it and drop it into that little thing there. Copy this, paste it there. There we go. And I want to select this background here. Or I just need to erase it, actually. I'll just do it this way. Yep. Because sprites use a certain color set. And so I have to be careful which colors I use in a Game Boy game like this. I need to make that smaller. What the heck? I'm just make it 1 pixel so I don't mess anything up. But there's probably a color select and delete that I could use. All right, here we go. Here we go. Okay, we got our pizza in there. So if I zoom it out, that does look like pizza. It looks like a slice of pizza from what I'm seeing here. So we're going to save that. What I'm going to do is I got to get ready for the swap in the back here because we need to swap it out. I'm pretty dang close. Well, I had projected 11. It's 24 minutes past 11 on the swap. So let me get this all set up so we can kind of get this ready to go. I don't know what's going to be the best way to look at it. So yeah, this will be a better one for the swap. All right, I'm going to get some things ready in the back here, and then I'll return with pizza. I am hungry for pizza at the moment. Okay, so what I'm about to do is I got to get the filament, and it's called a hot swap, or at least this is what I call it. And it's essentially, you can program the thing to stop at a specific layer, and then you just go in there and you turn it around and you do all the stuff, or you swap out the filament. But in my case, I don't necessarily like stopping the printer as I go. Uh-oh, this one says the temperature has to be 220. I'm using 2 different brands of filament for this, so I might actually have to adjust the temperature as well. But what I'm about to do is a little interesting here. Let's see here. Maybe what I can do is, let's see if I can get a different angle at this. Because I don't really do this that often. So I have this other camera, which is the Workbench camera. That works pretty well, actually. So I'm going to take this roll off, like live, and then try to jam it in there at the right moment. So I guess the question is, how much more do I need to wait for this to print? We're going to keep an eye on it because it looks like there might be a little bit of time. I might be standing over here. So I'm going to jump back beyond that other thing. We're going to finish some pizza, and then we're going to come back over here. Just trying to use the best use of my time here. You got to do a couple projects at once, right? So, all right, getting back to this screen. What we're going to do is we're going to export the pizza. So this was the pineapple pizza. So actually, I'm going to take this. Actually, I should probably be like two pieces of pizza. One that he bites, and one that, when I say he, our guy, Roby. So I'm going to delete some of this right here. I don't need the extra details. I might have to use white for my details. That's probably what I'm going to have to do in a little bit here. But let me get my collectible. I'm going to call this pizza. All right, here. Life story. Oh, good. This is a good one. Exploring and experimenting a lot of different paths. Dropped out of high school, got a GED, photographer, river guide, which awesome. Ski lift operator. Learned glass blowing. Hell yeah for that. You know, you do not suck in there. And then that 4 years, fired from a dispensary, choose it was time to go back to school, took every art class, 86 credits worth of art by the time you graduated. Heck yeah. Found graphic design. oh no, add jail. Yeah, well, geez. Had a very interesting, tumultuous time here. So graduated at the end of 2022 at 30 years old. All right. So that would make you what, 32, right? And now I've been working. You're on the grind, man. Good way to have a journey in your life. You had a lot of experiences. It's important that you learn from everything that you've had in life. And in certain cases, sometimes things aren't great earlier on. Ad jail. Yeah. Always making ads, huh? Wait, no. So I'm like, there's jail or ad jail. And I'm not really sure which one you're going for. But I suspect what you're saying is you're making ads and it's a jail for you. Okay, let's see here. So as I start to get this pizza, I wanted to make 2 spots for it. So let's see here, 1, 16, 32. So we're going to size this canvas down. Oh, actually, I don't even need to size it down, because what I could do is I can just use the whole script, because I was thinking what would be kind of funny is that if we use this later on, you could like take a bite out of the pizza. Oh, I thought you were talking about yourself. Oh my God. All right. I thought you said add jail to that. I'm like, holy crap. You had a really interesting kind of life. You were in ad jail. Got it. I totally forgot. They push ads on the stream here, which we tried to minimize that as much as we possibly could. So gotcha. Yeah. Ad jail is a career. That's what I was going to say. Kind of a pain in the ass sometimes. I want to take a bite out of this pizza. That's a terrible bite. Okay, hold on a second. We're just going to use this little single pixel deal here. See, I don't know all the terminology sometimes. Okay, that looks kind of like a bite. We won't necessarily need to use the... Actually, I'm going to back out because I don't want those 2 blocks right there. I want this. Yeah, sorry for the ads there. When you get to be, I don't even know what it's called, affiliate, they make you put ads on your stuff, which hypothetically, I guess it would make sense if you're going to make a lot of money or try to make money from Twitch, but it seems pretty difficult to be in that space of making money. Plus, I don't know. Yapping about stuff all day long. Maybe it's not my whole gig. All right, we got a piece of pizza. We got a piece of pizza with a bite at. Hey, Stealth Mouse, what is up? We got up to 5 in the stream so far. We are 3D printing today some stuff for Kylea. We're about to do a swap here. But Jackson Riley has been with me for a couple hours, Stealth Mouse, and has been pretty awesome at giving me some insights. And so we're making a piece of pizza. Uh-oh. I think it's time. Oh, no. I heard a noise, and I thought it was going up a layer. We got to do a hot swap of some filament. Oh, you've been lurking since 10:30, so you've been hanging out there. Well, thanks for the lurk. Working mainly as a brand identity designer because I love figuring out and exploring how to express, communicate, and show a brand through a logo. That's awesome. How do you feel like AI has been adjusting that side of the world for you? Because it feels like everyone thinks they're a designer now because they got AI. And it takes a little bit more. There's a little bit of something that gets into that, I feel. All right, let's see with our pizza here. All right, we're going to make our pizza. I'm going to put a piece of pizza in one of our dev levels. This is going to be fun. All right, I got my Sprite. There's our collectible pizza right there. Oh, yeah. I don't know why I put a bunch of different frames in here, though. I don't need these frames. I'm not going to put the eating frame in there either. We're just going to put the regular frame so far. This is Jackson Pizza. Okay, we got a piece of pizza. So I should be able to just chuck it into the world. I'll have to put some programming in it to actually make it something. Maybe that's the piece of pizza is going to be what you have to get in all our levels when you play them. Let's see here. I'm going to go put this guy in here. All right, let's see the little piece of pizza in game. You can trademark copyright AI images as a logo, so they will now have to learn the hard way if they want to grow a company. Yeah, you can't, but how many people are going to be able to prove you didn't? That's the problem. It's starting to get indistinguishable. Look at our little piece of pizza. I wouldn't have done this today had it not been for Jackson. But we had to figure out how to make it get picked up. Yeah, it did not do that extra color stuff that I was hoping it would do, but it looks good. It's definitely representative of a very soggy piece of pizza. Not as amazing as the one that you did. Yeah. But there's ways that you can use it as like a tool. So, for instance, if I go in, take AI, create an image, go in, recreate it using some other kinds of tools and tweaking it, I guess you're changing it. So it's not just dumped out directly from AI. So I get you. All right, let's see where we're at. Oh, we are on layer 11. It is now time to do the swap. So let us get us there to the workbench cam. We're gonna get our swap on. All right, this is gonna be a little bit of me not talking, and maybe I'll yell it. It'll be hard to hear me. Shoot, this thing looks like it's all tangled. I really hope this works. Okay, here's what I gotta do. I got a skull that I have to take off of there. That's kind of cool. So I'm going to slowly take down the speed. So what that does is it allows me to slow this thing down so I could do this swap. And it's cool. I have a couple layers to do this, but we're going to do it right now. So I'm down to about... If I go too fast with taking the speed down, it crashes my printer. Okay. We're taking that off, and now I'm going to do this next step. Here's the part that's a little bit of a challenge. I gotta basically yank out the current filament and jam this other one in there as quick as I can, so that we have a good swap. Okay, I think I did it. Okay, we're swapped. So now the part is I gotta speed everything back up. Let's see here. Actually, that's not gonna be the cool one. You wanna watch the nozzle as it starts to pump out the gray here. Now my question's going to be is, since I have two temperatures, am I going to be able to actually swap between those really well? The reason being is one was at 230 and they say this one should be at 220 at max. And so I have not printed with this one. I should have checked this beforehand, but they're both PLA plus. but one has a different higher temperature. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just slowly watch it. I can kind of start seeing some gray come out of there. I'm seeing it. If I keep it at this temperature, will it be okay? Okay, I'm going to get it back up to my normal speed. You can kind of see in the lower left there where it's slowly incrementing up. It's right above the word layer. That's your speed, if you're curious. Almost up to 100. Man, that was fast. It actually is. You can see it, but I wonder if it's gonna... Here, let's see here. If I can do a top-down 3D printer. You can see the gray already. Okay, we're back up to 100. It's really hard to see with the whole printer on there. Well, that looks cool. It seems like it's laying it down okay at 230, but maybe I'm just going to run it hot. I've not printed with this filament yet, so knowing that it's working at 230 is good. This is double test. Test, can I print it out, see how the size of this is going to look, and then also how's this different printer? So I have two types of 3D printing filament at the moment. That I'm using today. So this other one is called EPAX. FLA Plus. It says nozzle temperature 195 to 230. And on this Overture, it is also PLA Professional. So there is a difference. One's called PLA Plus and one's called PLA Professional. And on the thing over here it says 190 to 220. So I'm a little nervous that it might be coming out too hot. What do you think? Anybody have any insights? Should I try to adjust that temperature? It looks good. Feeling like it looks okay. Here, there's a good part to see it. We got Mike Azul in here as well? Damn. Thanks for joining us on a Sunday. This was a rando stream. Hey, Mike Azul, did you see earlier that I did dissect the game? So we are trying to here, let's see here on the Workbench. I did take apart the board just in case I need to do some measurements. So I'm ready. You got to just tell me where you want to, and I can start to fit in some of the things. We got JacksonRiley.cool in the chat today, and he saw us take it apart. I was telling him, you're the one that's the smart dude pulling together this build of it, so it looks cool. So I've been doing a lot today. This is definitely a workbench day, I'll tell you. All right, so as far as our nozzle cam is concerned, I'm loving this. This is looking great. I love it. I can't get, I don't have a really cool shot of to see what this looks like at the end, but shoot, if I didn't think I was going to be able to stream for 4 hours, and I don't know if I will, but I might transition over to Fallout in just a little bit here, potentially, but I'd probably stop the stream if I did that and then start a new one. But what I wanted to do is see what this thing looks like at the end, and what it is I'll show it in the stream on camera. It's a Sea of Thieves emblem. So Fort of Fortune is, I believe, what it is called. It looks pretty cool with this background of a neon and then a gray. And so, hey, Mike Azul, I know you're on many projects. This is Project Sunday, and if you're working on the bathroom, I'm hoping that thing is getting close to done because I know you've been kicking some butt on it. I am super impressed with the amount of work that you put into your bathroom. Man, I don't know if I could have done it. Okay, back over on this side, let's go and take a quick peek at where we're at as far as our game is concerned. We want to make this pizza collectible. At least something's got to happen. So I'm going to just copy some of the code here. Oh, shoot. I forgot. Hide player. Maybe that's all I need to do. So it's on hit hide player. Let me just see if that works. On interact. Because what did I do it on this one? Oh, it's on hit. Okay, because you have to say that it's actually has a hit. There we go. So on hit player, put comment, and we'll paste hide player. Just at least for now. Just so that we have something, and then, oh, I got to put some sort of flooring on this. So we can get to the thing. Well, in any case, yeah, I've been having some pretty decent conversations today. We've been able to make some headway in terms of getting this world set up. I kind of sat on it for a couple days, or actually more so like a week. And I know Ryan needs this version of the game, so I'm hopefully going to get it to him for this coming Thursday. He may have some time to work on it before then. Then we've got the 3D printing for Kylea going on, and there's one other thing I need to do. I need to respond to some people in the Discord. Well, not my Discord, but the Game Boy Discord. All right, let's see if we can actually pick up the pizza. Yup, we got some pizza. Maybe we'll have a little animation where he gets yummy. All right, sweet. Thanks, Jackson Riley. You know what? We need to... we were going to do one other thing for the pizza just for fun right now. Is we're going to say insert event before, and we'll do a dialogue. Just so I remember. Let's say Jackson Riley .cool loves pineapple pizza. All right, let's see if that works. Did I get that right? Oh, you have the .cool in there because there's no actual dots. There's no dots in the names of your Discord names that are out there. Here we go. Let's see if it works. Yeah, there you go. Oh, you can't see the word loves though, because that's really like, that's fine. It's all good. Oh crap! Once you hit it, I have to deactivate the actor. Let's do this. So I gotta hit. Actually, I think I can have 3 lines on this stuff. And I need to deactivate actor. Add event. Deactivate actor. All right. One last try. That will just remind us if I'm sending this off to Ryan. Check his stuff out. What time is it? 11:46. Yup. Oh, you didn't see any of what I just did. Sorry. My bad. I forget that it's only on this screen on the left-hand side. I only did that once today, and that was just right that second. Oh, my goodness. I've only drank half of my Topo Chico. It's the grapefruit flavor. I don't know if I like this grapefruit flavor. I love the grapefruit flavor from LaCroix, but not particularly this Topo Chico version. It's like a little bit too sweet. All right, let's check it out. Here you go. This is for you, JacksonRiley.cool. Got your pizza there, which mine is not a great representation of what you gave, but I appreciate the representation. And boom. Yeah. You get the pizza. We're going to have an eating version of that. That's going to help us out. Okay, so we got our 3D print that should be done in a couple hours here. So let's take a quick peek at that. Last time, just want to make sure that it's not like oozing out like crazy. It feels like like, that temperature is going to be okay. I'm not seeing a lot of bubbling or anything, so I'm just going to run with it. I'm just going to say it's good. I just was worried about stringing potentially, and it is not stringing. And it seems like it's laying it down pretty dang good. And honestly, now that I think about it, okay, we're at 34% done. It said it's going to take 4 hours for this thing to go down. We're at 2.5 hours. So hypothetically, an hour and a half, and then this thing is done. I would say that's awesome. All right. Let's do the final thing that we've been working on today. And one of the things that I am in here, oh crap, I got to do it, a response to it. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. So here, maybe problem already solved. I don't even need to do this. So over here in the GB Studio Discord this morning, there's this conversation with A. Martinez and JU. And so what had happened is, well, there's a lot of conversations since then. So we have this whole thread going on, seamless real-time animation. Oh, God, I got to turn it over to that. So here we go. We're in the Discord thread. And what we've been working on is a way to create a seamless real-time animation tile sheet changes. So when we're doing these swaps of these characters, you saw it with Roby. He's standing there and then he's swinging something. There's this methodology that was created, or at least found and stumbled across on here. And this morning there was these two folks that were kind of talking through on a way that this thing would work. And essentially, the last time I left it before I saw anything is I just put my little head in there and said something dumb like, hey, why don't you use a new strategy using this downstate, middle state, upstate? And then it kind of went back and forth. And then, okay, let's see here. I'm catching up. This is me catching up. I haven't seen anything. Identical between. Okay, it says, the glitchiness only happens on the left. I can put my finger at it. Yep, it worked. You guys are legends. Thank you for all advice. Oh, nice. All right, it's pulling it through. So they've figured out what he's been up to. So essentially, this guy is making this sprite sheet using some of the insights. And so his little character is walking around, and he wants it to look really good. Okay. I don't even have to do that part of the stream. I streamed so long that I didn't even have to go in there and have a conversation on this part. So it sounds like they got it all figured out in Discord, which is a positive. So what I think I'm going to do here is, I was wondering, should I change it over to the Fallout stream and stop and start this one? Or should I continue going with this one? I think I better start and stop it, just so I have two different stream types. So if you want to follow along with some of my Fallout, I'm going to be working in the Workbench in that, and I'm hopefully going to just stream until I get to the end of this 3D print that's going on. So come back in about 5 minutes. I'll be streaming in Fallout if you still would like to continue watching the stream today. So I'm going to hang out, switch up the stream, be in Fallout. I appreciate everyone hanging out and with me on this Sunday. We're going to go in and just finish out the day with some fun. So thanks for hanging out today, and thanks for all the chitty chat. It's been fun. I will see you soon in Fallout if you'd like to come over there. So until then, see you in a second.